Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How's it going, guys? How is it going? I am tired. We've had a lot of streaming going on. But I did just take a luxurious shower, which was always makes you feel good. How's the mic doing? I shouldn't even ask. I shouldn't even ask how the mic is doing. I heard people talking about the audio being unbalanced today, which I can't change specifically any of the settings. So, I can't change the settings on StreamYard. So I'm going to try, like, maybe troubleshoot a little bit on here. Let's see. I can't. Okay. Audio. Correct mic. Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. Sound was fine. No, sound today was not actually fine. I saw some of the clips that were posted on Twitter. Jack Posobiec tweeted out a couple of clips from the stream, and the sound was really loud on my mic specifically. Normally I'm up here on a mic, and I was way back here. But it wasn't just the courtroom being quiet, because the courtroom is actually normal volume. I think something happened with on the backyard or back room of StreamYard, because I didn't change my audio volume at all. But man, when I heard it on the clips, it was overpoweringly loud. And I had to turn Legal Bites down to like 20% volume. I had to turn Legal Mindset down to 40% volume. There was something going on, I think, in their software, because on my end, I manually turned the gain down on my mic and everything to try and get the sound down a little bit. It was so out of balance. And no, you can't play with the there's no audio controls really in StreamYard, other than on the individual people, you can adjust their mic volume up or down, but there's no monitor. So I can't actually hear what the sound sounds like. So it was very, very strange. It's very, very strange. Herbie Slayer says, you lost subs again? I mean, I'm doing okay on subs. We're up like, I'm up like over 2,000 subs this week. So I'm okay with how subs are going. But see, Goody, you say that, but I haven't had troubles. StreamYard usually mixes things adequately. It hit 177. Oh, yeah. I haven't seen it hit there. Where's it at right now? I'm checking. Whew. No, it's at 176,868. I never saw it up as high as 177, but I guess it's possible. Yeah, watching you daily, I can watch myself and listen to it in headphones. The problem with the annoying part of that is you guys are on a 20-second delay from when I say something. So if I watch it and listen to it with headphones, then I'm going to be hearing myself 20 seconds after, and it's just hard to adjust in real time. But anyway, we'll figure it out. Well, I'll figure it out later in the stream. All right. So one thing I posted is I did get the clip from Robert Barnes, Good Logic, and I talking about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial after day 2. I got that uploaded. That clip, it's almost an hour long because Barnes was spitting out hot fire uh, about where he thought the case is going. So I wanted to get pretty much all of that. I did have to clip out Richards saying the N word. Had to do that because of the song around it was copyright. So I took that out. It's still up on the main live stream, but just for the clip, I took it out. What's up, Attorney Tom? I have not taken a nap yet. Whoo, baby. We're still rolling strong. Still rolling strong. And yeah. Get Pasoviak on the show. Yeah, he's welcome to come on. Think he'd be an interesting guy to talk to, for sure. But okay. I want to recap the trial today a little bit. Share some thoughts on it. I want to clarify something. Some people I made some people mad unintentionally today. I think they took a comment of mine as an insult to a group of people, which it's certainly not. Let's see. Okay, yeah. I gotta this guy's still really mad at me. So I made fun. I didn't even make. I had fun with the thick witness today, right? The chunky post deployment soldier. Um, I don't know why a veteran is somehow immune to jokes that no one else is immune to. But I made fun of the guy, and then the chat was making hilarious puns. Meal Team 6, Gravy Seal. These are funny, funny, um, funny jokes to me. I don't know. I don't mean them with malice. This is it's just a joke. Chill out. So um so then someone later in the stream, I mentioned that this guy is probably not an expert on um, munitions or whatever, on the gun specifically that is being used here. He's not. This is not an expert that's been qualified by the court, and I'm not sure you get away with qualifying a random infantryman as an expert on firearms. When you look for a firearms expert, this is not a besmirch of the infantryman or any infantryman, right? Like, this is just a guy who's an infantryman in the military, does a couple tours, great, lots of service to the country. They come back. Do they know more about guns than, say, me? Probably. Do they know more about guns than the average person walking around? Probably. It doesn't automatically make an expert. And when you're talking about getting an expert witness to talk about guns, ballistics, munitions, I mean, these guys have ongoing qualifications and certifications and trainings. These are not, it's not an insult to say someone is not an expert. In fact, lawyers would have a tough time being qualified as experts in a lot of areas of law. If you don't have a specialty that you practice or whatever, you're going to have issues. Like, if you try to bring me in to court on patent law, I've got a law degree. I can understand it. I can research it. I'm not a patent law expert. What are you talking about? So this an individual has taken it very much as an insult. I'm guessing he's also an infantryman that has maybe put on a few pounds. And it's like, calm down. That wasn't an insult on you at all. That was actually more a statement about what qualifying an insult means to the court. Look at John Black. This is a use of force expert, right? You know who's a use of force expert in the general sense? A cop, right? A cop who has ever had to discharge his weapon in a self-defense situation is colloquially an expert on the use of force. They have training and stuff on that. You would never bring a law enforcement officer, just a random LEO, and present them as an expert. You wouldn't even present them as an expert on the use of force in police situations. Not at all. You would bring someone like John Black, who's been training people on use of force for 30 years actively. He's written books on it. He's certified in various training methods. He's again, it's not about the person. It's about how you qualify experts in court. There's a big difference. And so to anybody who's super big mad offended about me saying that the infantryman probably wouldn't be a good expert on firearms in this trial, it's not his fault. It's not a failing of him. It's not a commentary on the military or infantry or anything like that. It's a discussion about how you qualify experts and what those qualifications need to be. But man, like that was kind of a throwaway line. And this guy on Twitter, he's DMing me super mad about it, which, okay, sure. And just so we're clear about the fat jokes, make fat jokes about everybody. Make fat jokes about me. Chill out. No one cares. No one actually cares. You might, if you're offended by a fat joke, care about your own weight. And if you do something about it. But you could just laugh. I love it. I will make fun of dozens and dozens of different people of different types all the time. But you hit that button for one person, it's like, whoa. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's like, I did, and I will for always. I will always make fun of everybody. It's just how I do things. And so, but who knows? Who knows? The interesting part is he told me to stick to the first thing he says. I'm not going to reveal, like, I don't want to mess with this guy or anything, but, so here's what he says. Infantry are drilled constantly on making effective range of their weapon systems. Great. That doesn't necessarily make them an expert. And whether or not they're an expert on a particular gun or on a particular type of round or whatever you're looking for. And then he says, and 20% lol, dude, you're fucking out of the fucking loop. Look, again, there's a certain amount of active duty infantry and there's a certain amount of retired infantry. If all infantrymen are experts on guns, then that are in court, then no one's an expert on guns, right? Like that has changed the definition of what an expert is. If we say all infantrymen are experts on guns, again, it's not a slight to the infantrymen. But anyway, present and retired or whatever, because this guy's not active. He's done. And then he says, stick to making fat jokes, right? Okay. But what follows is interesting to me. So he says, stick to making fat jokes. And I said, hey, qualifying an expert in court is different. I elaborated on it later. It wasn't intended to besmirch infantry. Then he immediately goes, still, you didn't have to call him fat and go along with the mob in your chat. You just told me to stick with making fat jokes. But then I didn't have to call him fat. He's a chunky guy. He's a big dude. It's not, oh my gosh, never mind. I'm focusing too much. I'm focusing too much on these, these people, who get mad over things. Stop getting mad over things that don't matter. Jokes, insults. Hey, stop. Get mad at the fact that people are trying to take away the right to self-defense. That a prosecutor is doing a self-serving political career move, prosecution of Kyle Rittenhouse, which has the risk of taking away or severely impacting what the right of self-defense means, both in the eyes of Wisconsin law and in the eyes of the public of the entire country. He's doing that for his own, to pad his own career. Let's worry about that. Let's get mad about stuff like that. Let's get mad about them taking away our right to free speech. Let's get mad about big tech basically co-opting all of the lines of mass communication and then controlling what can actually happen on those lines. Let's get pissed about things that are real. Someone calls you fat. Who fucking cares? People call me shit all the time. Who cares? Stop being mad at this stuff. Stop being mad at other people. Let's get mad at congressmen. I teach the Constitution to my homeschool class, like I said. And I was talking about some of the special privileges of that congressmen get, right? And I told them, their starting salary is like $184,000 a year. They get medical for themselves and their immediate family for life. Oh, and by the way, they can do insider trading. Do you know what insider trading is? No. Well, I had to tell them, basically, quick explainer on the fact that Congress can own, buy, and sell stock in companies that will be directly impacted by their legislation. And we're not mad at that. Why aren't we mad at that? Why are we mad at people making a joke? Chill the fuck out. Oh boy. I even see a guy in the chat saying I'm wrong about qualifying an expert witness because he would be an expert because he's had training in every type of arm and munition that has ever existed. Great. I'm not sure you can actually still be qualified as an expert. Do you have ongoing certifications? What are those certifications? And I'm not asking you to answer the questions. These are specific things. And maybe there are specific infantrymen who would be qualified as experts, but not every one of them. And it's not about you. Do you know more about guns than me? Yes. Sure. Do you know more about guns than most people? Sure. Does that make you an expert? No. Oh. It's literally on my DD-214, you narnar. Great. That's a DD-214. When were you discharged? What exactly is on your DD-214? Do you have ongoing certifications? Are you training people currently? Have you written any books on it? Have you published papers on munitions or ballistics? These are the questions that are asked of experts. Again, I'm not questioning your expertise. Take it up with the courts. Take it up with the courts. It's not me telling you you're not good enough. Oh my goodness. So anyway, let's talk about how today went. Let's talk about how today went in court. All right, that's the trick. Steven says you're going to find eggheads with those qualifications, not actual experts. Yes. It's not about you, your actual knowledge, your skill, your use of the arms. Yes, you nailed it. You got it. I don't know. We're not in disagreement here. I'm not saying this is the way it should be. Oh my goodness, buddy. I'm not out here to besmirch the infantry or you or anybody. Desk jockey military people know more about guns than me. That's great. It's not that. It's the court. it's how court works. Should you be qualified as an expert? Probably. Are you going to be? I don't know. It's up to the court. And they want a stupid list of credentials, and they want some weird little pencil dick from the NRA to come down and be like, well, I give firearms training to the NRA. Like, okay. First of all, I automatically discount anybody in the NRA as an expert because I'm pretty sure the NRA doesn't understand the Second Amendment at all. So I don't really want their opinion on anything else. But the courts like them. The courts like them. But by the way, if you do have a ton of expertise, get some certifications and be an expert witness. Make a shitload of money. Expert witnesses get paid great by the hour. Go do it. Go do it. Ongoing certification in rotisserie chicken. There's the expert I want on my team. Oh boy. All right. So today, this is the important part. Today was much, much better for the defense. Much better for the defense. It started off a little rocky, I'll say, for Richards. He did not have a great cross-examination of the police officer. It was not stellar. It wasn't terrible, but it was not stellar. Then Binger gets to go on redirect, and Richards gets to go on cross examination, and he recross. He got a couple things, but it wasn't magnificent. It was fine. His recross, I think, might have been better than his cross, but he ends up in this weird place. Yeah, he had a great Nate the lawyer was talking about it with me. He had this great moment where he gets this guy saying that Kyle Rittenhouse is the only person being chased at the entire scene, and he's being chased by Joseph Rosenbaum. Huge admission from the guy, but he doesn't really hammer it home. He does not really. He doesn't. How do I say this? He doesn't emphasize the point. I don't think he even caught it. The cop was completely flat-footed by it. Instead, Richard seems focused on this other narrative that he was coached, or that the police officer on the stand was coached about this failure to execute a search warrant on Gage Grosskreutz, specifically on his cell phone. So Gage Grosskreutz gave them one video and then refused to turn over the rest of his whatever else was on his phone. Now, on one hand, I agree with Gage. I agree. Don't give the cops anything. Don't hand over your whole phone. Don't let them download your whole phone if they need one video. That's the right thing. But he had an actual search warrant executed, and then the police did not, or the search warrant written, authorized by the judge, but it was not actually executed. They chose not to. Now, there is nothing compelling the execution of a search warrant. There is, police officers can get authorization to do a search, and they can either miss the opportunity because it's for a limited period of time or in a specific place. They can decide not to do it. It could be mooted by something else, whatever. They don't have to execute a search warrant. They have permission to do it. So he doesn't have to do this. But it is a little bit out of character that he doesn't do it on Gage, who is not charged, potentially. And why doesn't Gage want to do it, right? He's probably got photos of him with a gun. He might have photos of him doing stupid stuff. He might have photos and videos of him at other riots, or he might have videos of him throwing rocks or setting things on fire. We don't know. But kind of the inference is that he may have some compromising things on his phone that he doesn't want to give to the cops. And again, in principle, I agree. So Richards is going on about this whole thing, and the cop uses this weird justification of Macy's Law. Macy's Law is this, well, it's apparently a Wisconsin constitutional amendment to protect the rights of victims and not to put them at the same disadvantages of accused criminals, which is a really weird thing because accused criminals and victims have the exact same rights. Actually, the accused criminal may technically have more. Um, more Marcy's law. Sorry, Marcy's law. Uh, Macy's law is that whenever you go into the store to buy anything, you walk out like $500 more broke. Um, sorry, Marcy's law. But so it's this idea that it protects stuff. I can pull it up real quick. Let's pull this up. Marcy's law. Marzy's law. It's a victim bill of rights. Let me see if I can get it in Wisconsin. Let's see. It's from the DOJ of Wisconsin. Pretty decent resource for it. Share you. And I'll hit super chats in just a minute, guys. I will do that. So here we go. Marzy's law is actually, no one was spelling it right, including me. Marzy's law on public records. So Wisconsin Department of Justice has prepared the following advisory in response to inquiries about the applicability of Wisconsin's public records law to this in light of Marzy's law, the constitutional amendment to Article 1, Section 9M of the Wisconsin Constitution, which created additional rights and protections for crime victims in Wisconsin. This advisory is pursuant to the Wisconsin statute and does not constitute a formal, informal, or formal opinion of the Attorney General. Okay. Article 1, Section 9M of the Wisconsin Constitution. Let's pull that up. Let's get the actual document. Here we go. 9M. So this is victims of a crime. This is victims of a crime. This is Marzy's law. In this section, notwithstanding any statutory right, privilege, or protection, victim means any of the following. A person against whom an act is committed that would constitute a crime if committed by a competent adult. Person under subdivision 1 is deceased or is physically or emotionally unable to exercise her rights under this section. The person's spouse, parent, or legal guardian, sibling, child, person or who resided with the deceased at the time of death, or other lawful representative. The person under subdivision 1 is a minor. Person's parent, legal guardian, or custodian or of the lawful representative if they're adjudicated incompetent. That's probably Gage Grosskreutz. Victim does not include the accused or a person who the court finds would not act in the best interests of a victim who is deceased, incompetent, minor, or physically or emotionally unable to exercise his or her rights under this action. Okay, number 2. In order to preserve and protect victims' rights to justice and due process throughout the criminal and juvenile justice process, victims shall be entitled to all of the following rights, to which shall vest at the time of victimization and be protected by law in a manner no less vigorous than the protections afforded to the accused. So this is basically to prevent rape victims from having their entire sexual history spilled out in court. Right? That's what this is for. Because one of the common defenses to rape, 40 years ago was, well, she's a hoe. Look at her. Look at her list of men who have tread these sacred halls. Right? That's the idea. I couldn't have raped her. She's a slut. Was one of the ways that you would defend a rape charge. or sexual assault charge or whatever. Vapid Zero, did the law even exist at that time? What do you mean, that time? Like the time of the search warrant? I don't know. But anyway, I think so. But that's what this was about. Those types of things. It's not necessarily about this, but let's read what the rights are, okay? To be treated with dignity, respect, courtesy, sensitivity, and fairness. So again, we're talking apparently about Gage Grosskreutz. Apparently executing a search warrant would violate his dignity, respect, courtesy, sensitivity, and fairness. To privacy, a search warrant overrides the right to privacy. You already have a fundamental right to privacy. But the search warrant overrides that. That's how the Fourth Amendment works. To proceedings free from unreasonable delay, to timely disposition of the case free from unreasonable delay, upon request to attend all proceedings involved in the case, to reasonable protection from the accused throughout the criminal and juvenile justice process, upon request to reasonable and timely notification of proceedings, upon request to confer with the attorney for the government, so he can talk to Binger, upon request to be heard in any proceeding during which a right of the victim is implicated, including release, plea, sentencing, disposition, so they can testify. Got it. To have information pertaining to the economic, physical, and psychological effect upon the victim of the offense submitted to the authority with jurisdiction over the case, and to have that information considered by that authority. So you can say, oh man, I lost a bunch of money. My bicep was blown off. I have trauma because I tried to touch a kid and he shot me. Whatever that, that can be submitted to the judge. Upon request, a timely notice of any release or escape of the accused or death of the accused if the accused is in custody or supervision at the time of death, to refuse an interview, deposition, or other discovery request made by the accused or any person acting on behalf of the accused. That's not the state, by the way. But this is insane. So you can refuse a deposition from someone who allegedly commit a crime against you. Well, how the fuck does that work? I'm suing you for civilly for sexual battery. Okay, well, let's get this deposition out there. No. What the fuck? What? They just refuse a deposition? To full restitution from any person who has been ordered to pay restitution to the victim and to be provided with assistance collecting restitution, compensation under the law, upon request, reasonable and timely information about the status of the investigation, the outcome of the case, timely notice about all rights under this section. Okay. And then it's self-executing for, in addition to any other available enforcement of rights or remedy, this section, blah, 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 blah. The victim's attorney, other lawful representative, or the attorney of the government, upon request of the victim, may assert and seek in any circuit court for any other authority of competent jurisdiction enforcement of the rights in this section. Okay. So you can enforce it. But the main thing is we have nothing in here where the state using Marzy's law to invest, or the state would use Marzy's law to stop a search warrant that was lawfully ordered by a judge. It's bullshit. The whole thing is bullshit. It's a crazy notion that that this would apply to a state issued search warrant. But it's just a cop making it up. So anyway, yesterday they got to this line of questioning. The cop had terrible answers about why he didn't execute the search warrant. He could have just said, we didn't feel we needed it. We got the video we were looking for. Do you think there's any other videos on his phone that would be helpful? No idea. We don't have probable cause. Or, well, we did have probable cause because we got the search warrant. No idea. This video was sufficient for the information that we needed. We didn't need to execute a search warrant. Could have done that. But instead, he chose to go into this Marzy's law thing, did not testify on it well. Then today, he did testify pretty specifically about Marzy's law and the grounds for which they decided, or he decided not to execute the warrant or whatever. And Mark Richards accuses Binger of coaching this police officer witness. And make no mistake, make no mistake. This cop was absolutely coached. Maybe not by Binger, maybe not even by the Kenosha County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. It could have been by anybody, someone at his own police department. It could have been someone from a different district attorney's office. It could have been by the mayor. Who knows? Who knows? Someone could have dressed him down and said, "You need to bone up on this thing. This is not an acceptable way." Again, it could have been his police chief. Who It's impossible to say who would have done it, but his testimony changed dramatically, and it sure looked like he was being coached live by Binger. His responses were different. But so Richards gets him kind of on that. He doesn't get him to admit it, of course, but it's out there. It's there for the jury. They've heard it. They saw the testimony. They could see what was going on, and they'll take that in however they take it. Here's the problem, though. When Richards did that, he didn't focus on the fact that the cop had just made a huge blunder right before those questions. And he was so intent on showing that this guy's testimony had changed or clarified a whole lot that he missed the real target, which was he had just said Kyle Rittenhouse was the only person being chased that night by the cop who has reviewed every single video. And he missed it. He missed it happening. And that was Matthew Franzese. Hey, what's up, man? He says Marsy's Law only applies during criminal proceedings, does not operate as a complete bar to civil discovery. No, but I'm saying if you are suing for, I'm curious if you're suing for, say, sexual battery and there's an ongoing criminal proceeding for the same thing, right? If you've got the lawsuit and the same thing, and the criminal case is also ongoing. Sometimes they run concurrently, although it's not always the best move, but can be. Depends on how you want to do it. So yeah, very, very interesting sort of thing, but okay. I don't see, look, I see why you want something similar to, I think it's the Violence Against Women's Act that had the victims' rights stuff with the you can't drop someone's entire sexual history to disprove a rape, right? Like I get that stuff, but going beyond and like you said that this cop was full of it. Yeah, on this one it's completely ridiculous. I was concerned about implications of Marsy's Law. No, you weren't. But anyway, so that was a big miss for Richards, not reiterating and drawing the jury's attention to that specific point. I think Nate the lawyer brought that up, and I think he's dead on that one. Other than that, the next two witnesses would be Mr. McInnes from the Daily Caller, and then you've got Bulch. Both of these guys end up being almost entirely favorable to Kyle Rittenhouse. There are a couple errant statements from Richie McInnes about him being uncomfortable about guns, things that you like. It's not the worst thing, but you just would prefer he had said pretty much anything else. And then, but that's the main point of it. But he's out there testifying how he's afraid, how the crowd is hostile in various places, how he carries a bunch of White Claws around to try and pacify various people because he doesn't want to get attacked, and he finds that a White Claw can soothe the mood. So he's just out here handing out alcohol to people all over the place. He's testifying to this stuff, how he's accosted by a group of people because he's got his camera out. This is all good. And then eventually he gets around to saying over and over and over again that Joseph Rosenbaum was lunging and reaching for Kyle's gun. And it comes out a whole lot of times on Binger's examination. And then Richards picks up on it, and he does hit that point pretty well. He does hit that point pretty well. And then that his cross exam was good. Redirect goes back to Binger. He tries to rehabilitate a little bit his case, and then Richards misses an opportunity by dropping his chance to re-cross examine whatchamacallit, McInnes, in my opinion. And Nate, the lawyer, said, he should have just asked one question. I don't even remember what the specific question was, but basically hammering on this self-defense idea about Kyle being chased and about this guy grabbing for the gun. And then the one question, boom, walk away. Perfect. Even if he didn't want to do that, he had the opportunity to ask a couple other questions. Again, these were all things that Binger brought up on direct, and even some of them he brought up on redirect. So he would have the ability to make these. He would have the ability to ask these questions and get some really good points out of a clearly favorable witness. I think he dropped the ball a little bit there, but overall, his cross-examination of this guy was good. He was handling objections pretty well at this point. And that was good stuff. The next witness is Balch, whatever. He is, again, a witness who ends up being friendly to Kyle Rittenhouse. He's got he's a guy who's buddy with him the whole night. They're walking around together. He's the guy who is alone, or who accidentally leaves Kyle alone, and that's when everything goes south. And his testimony is largely beneficial to Kyle as well. Again, he's talking about how they're out there. And that's when he gets the big win. Probably the biggest win for the defense that day, or today, was him saying that Joseph Rosenbaum told him, and Kyle was right there, that if I get either of you alone, I will fucking kill you. He says that. They're both there. He testifies that Kyle hears it, which he can't even testify technically to the fact that Kyle heard it, but he testifies that he's right there, and he believes that he would have heard that because it wasn't quiet or whatever. And that is the big moment for the defense today, because that was phenomenal. And it came out during direct. Binger should have really not been asking those types of questions to lead into this testimony from this guy. And that was fantastic. That fact is huge. They've laid foundation for that fact. They can now utilize that however they want, specifically in closing argument. And that'll be really beneficial to them. That Kyle was under the impression that if this guy got him alone, he would kill him. And guess what? He got him alone. He's chasing at him. He's screaming, and he's reaching for his gun. That's the exact narrative you want on Joseph Rosenbaum. And hopefully Binger will utilize that as they go forward and find ways to get that in there. But all in all, good day for the defense. Binger ends, or not Binger, Richards ends really strong. I just said Binger for Richards just a minute ago too. Richards ends the day very, very strong and redeems kind of the beginning of today and the yesterday. Yesterday was a mess. And again, my big white pill that I want to get out of this for everybody is anybody who's watching this trial and is getting really upset and they think that Kyle's going to lose and it's rigged, that Richards is like against him and things are going so bad. During the prosecution's case in chief, which is when they're calling witnesses, the state witnesses are favorable to the state, typically speaking. By the time the prosecution's case in chief is done, a neutral party who has no knowledge of this case at all should be on the side of the state. they should be agreeing. If the state prosecutor has done his job, just a normal person coming into this with no context is going to be on his side because he's presenting and crafting the narrative at this point. They're picking their witnesses in specific orders. That's why Gage is going to be on Monday, the testimony of Gage Grosskreutz. I'm really excited for that. But they're picking the order of witnesses. They're picking the questions. They're setting the narrative. They're picking the witnesses at all, right? Who they're going to put up there, what they're going to have them testify to. So at the end of the prosecution's case, we should be on the side of the prosecution. We being an average normie, right, who looks at this, should be on the side of the prosecution. That's how it's designed to work. And then the defense comes in and they make the case. And then at the end of the defense's case, you should have both sides and be able to pick which one. So that's how this is supposed to go. So it's supposed to look like you're losing at the beginning, even if you're winning. Like if the prosecutor's competent in doing their job, that's how it should be. That's how it should be. So again, a bad day on day 2 does not mean that the entire case is lost. A lot of people are reacting to this as if the entire case will go down because the defense had a bad day on day 2. And I do not think that that is going to be the reason that Kyle is convicted if he is. I don't think he'll be convicted. I'm still very optimistic overall about the chances on this case. But if he is convicted, it's not going to be because of day 2. It's probably going to be because of Monday or how the defense goes on later. But if the defense performs like they did today, I think Kyle will end up being fine. And there are a lot of people who disagree with mine and other lawyers who've been on the show's assessment of day 2. There are a lot of smart people who think that day 2 was just fine for the defense. One of them is Andrew Branca. And I would recommend anybody who's interested in this case to go read Andrew Branca's writings on it at lawofselfdefense.com. Go check it out. Oh my goodness. I love when people don't know me. Go check it out. He's a very smart guy and he disagrees. He thinks that day 2 is great. I think Robert Grueller also thought that day 2 was just fine for the defense and was not a bad day. I would love to have Robert on for one of the trial streams. I think he'd have a lot to share, but he's kind of a busy guy and doing stuff during the day is tough for him. But I might be able to do an interview with him on the weekend. To the weirdo in the chat. I love gray in my beard. I would be happy if my beard went gray. That it does not bother me in the slightest. My wife loves gray hair. So I'll take it. I'll take it all day. Make me look older and more refined and sophisticated. So get a better insult to spam, or you could just not spam. Like just not spam and you'd be fine. You could just say whatever insult you want, just not spamming it. And you'll be okay. Yes, I've heard the prosecutor is the mayor's nephew and the DA is his son. Yes, I have heard that. Doesn't really have a ton of relevance to the case overall. I mean, it might explain why it's being prosecuted in the way it's being prosecuted. Doesn't necessarily. Again, while I think this is a political prosecution of Kyle Rittenhouse in general, I don't think it's an improper prosecution under the law. Under the law. Do I think this should have been prosecuted? No. Looks like clear-cut self-defense to me. Looks like a case of self-defense. So I don't think it should be prosecuted. However, you got 2 bodies and you got a guy with an evaporated arm. You're probably justified in bringing charges. Make the defense, raise the affirmative defense of self-defense. Defense. Make them do it. Sure, maybe they win on it, but you're probably justified when you got 2 bodies and an injured third party. So, all right, let me hit these super chats that are here because that is a big big part of the show, obviously, is the support that you guys give. And so I want to make sure I get to those and get any questions that have been asked. Where are we? All right. William Smith says protesters on politically incorrect now believe that you are on poll now believe that you are Jewish and that Drex is the father of your children. Given their track record, I'm inclined to believe them. Yeah, well, both of those will be news to me. And I think if Drex were the father of my children, it would be apparent. Puggernaut says, so is Richards going to invite Binger over to his house after the trial and let him sodomize his wife while he watches from the corner? Because that's how assertive Richards has been during the trial. Richards was better today. He did do a couple objections, and those objections threw Binger off. Clearly threw Binger off. They broke up his flow, and that's why he needs to. That's why he needs to do them more. That's why he needs to do them more. Let's see. Where does this? Okay. Othamer says later than a Richards objection. Stellar J. Adkins says, please check out tonight's live stream by Sarah Corraher at 4650. Info about people involved in Kyle trial you may not know. Is this again about the mayor, the DA, and Binger? Yeah, I don't know who Sarah Corraher is, but I don't know. Maybe I'll get around to it. We'll see. I don't have a lot of time to do anything other than actually cover the trial. Simple Sandman says, how do I find the music video of Kyle's lawyer saying the N-word? Lofty Pixels on Twitter did it. It's only 20 seconds. It's only 20 seconds. It's in my live stream the other night. I don't remember the timestamp. Lofty is Lofti. Lofty Pixels. That's the dude who does the Quarterings introductions, the little intro videos that are funny. The parts of the Quartering videos. That's who does that. Lofty Pixels, and is the one who made the funny thing. So, Savoy 6 says, Binger, what gives you the right to be there? Jack Nicholson, aka Gravy Seal. You stand there with your gay pocket square and Harvard mouth and ask me that. That's not a Jack Nicholson. I buy snacks daily with rioters looking to kill me. You want me at that riot? You need me at that riot. Yes, very good. Very good adaptation of A Few Good Men. I love when Binger asks, what gives you the right, or why do you think you have the right to go stop a church from burning down? I mean, what? What gives you the right to stop that church from burning to the ground? That was a wild one. Ace of Spades says, Nick, they're infantry. We all know they aren't smart. Dang. With needing a 20 on the ASVAB, waiver, or both. Even worse, it's the Army. We all know they take the bottom of the barrel to make their quota. I'm saying this as a Marine vet. Shots fired by the Marines against the Army. That's on you guys. That's on you guys. Can fight over that one. I'm just a scrub who never served. So I'm not here saying anything. Pirate Chan says, hey, Nikki, first Patreon here. Thank you, Pirate Chan. How's it going, buddy? I wanted to get to the real meat of the Fuda question. Phrasing. What we really should be asking is foreskin or cut. Just like balls, it must also be foreskin. As Kermit, let's go, Brandon. There you go. I guess have that disgusting chat. But thank you, Pirate Chan, first Patreon. Infernal Iris says, "Is it too late for Kyle to fire Richards and bring on more competent counsel?" Um, Technically, no. I think it would look really bad to the jury if Kyle brought in a new team of lawyers one day. First of all, they'd be completely disconnected from the whatever structure or strategy that Richards is going after. But if you suddenly fire your counsel and bring in new counsel, why would you do that? Oh, he thinks he's losing? Maybe I should think he's losing, right? Like that's how that goes. You would not want to do that. Pirate Chan, you said it was foreskin. You said the answer was foreskin. I'm just agreeing with you. I can't support the body mutilation of Fudas. What is this? That's a hate crime. Let's see. Kyle J says, "I seriously recommend the law of self-defense for anyone who frequently carries a firearm. It's very informative." Yes. And I've had Andrew Branca on the show. I respect his opinions on use of force and self-defense law. Absolutely. He's a consultant on use of force cases all across the country. Very sharp guy. And yeah, if you are a firearm carrier, it's a great blog to read with good information and a lot of expertise. Expertise that you could probably get qualified as an expert witness. I had to do it. I had to do it. I'm sorry. Wizard's first rule. Thank you for the little dancing box there. Good sticker. Bad Vibe says, "Nick, did you get to browse the articles I sent you?" No. No, I haven't even opened hardly anything. The see, I got done with the stream. I went upstairs. My kids asked me to go get them food from a local restaurant. I went and got them food. I got me food. I had to make a phone call on a financial matter. That's always fun. That took a while. And then I pretty much got in the shower and came here. So no, Super Iron. I have another phone call I needed to make today that I didn't get around to. Super Iron Bob says, "As the Prez only deeply inhales from the hair of young women, would he sniff a futa?" No, he would not. He can actually smell the balls from the hair. Stock up on booze for tomorrow. Let's see. Somewhere I found it. It's upstairs. I have Where is it? Where is it? I have a bottle of scotch, single grain scotch, not single malt, single grain scotch called the Hague Club. It's in a weird square bottle. I know I have it in this house, but yes, I have a bottle of whiskey somewhere. I don't know where it landed. Lady Rackets doesn't drink box wine. See, goody. So we don't have any. I go buy the individual bottles of wine that we drink. Usually, she's not a huge wine drinker. I mean, she likes wine and will drink it with me, but she's not a big one. You drank it, don't you remember? I did not, because the bottle would be sitting down here next to me. But no, I have the Hague Club thing because I'm really interested to try it out. It's I wonder if it's still upstairs somewhere. Anyway, I'll find it. The Rittenhouse rye. I would love some Rittenhouse rye. I have to be able to get to the store, and since I'm streaming all day, it's kind of tough. So I'll probably have to go get it Saturday. Saturday I'll go restock. Um I got to read this super chat that came in right now. Adam Price says 21 gun salute for Bulch, hero of the war on hunger, slayer of Osama bin lunch. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Jason of the Great Awakening. I was waving the Hague bottle on camera a couple streams back. That's why I thought it was. I saw the box. I have the box for it upstairs, and I was like, oh, that's somewhere, but it's not in my liquor cabinet, and it's not sitting out. So I swear it got moved. Anyway. Okay. What else are we talking about today? Oh, I was going to check out some news. We had big news in the government today. We had the order, the vaccine mandate order. And that order has come down. I was going to check it out. Let's see. What do we got? There was it looks like Democrats are going to lose control of Virginia's House of Delegates. Virginia, man, they went red. They went hard red, hard in the paint. All right, let me see if I can find this real quick. Here we are. This is from Reuters. Sure, I won't get struck for talking about what the government just did. I'm guessing. Kyra says, so when are we getting wine reviews? Also, with all the new subscribers, you should make a quick that lets everyone know you have night streams. Yes, I probably should. I should. Icon of Sin. I got most of the daytime drinks in today and yesterday until I ran out of liquor. Okay, here we go. Let's go, Brandon. So Biden sets COVID-19 vaccine rules for business. So we finally have, I believe, an order on this. They finally have an order. Yeah, Zara BP. Unfortunately, I cannot bring up Razorfist's tweet on stream. I can't do it. I can't even allude to what it's talking about. Because that is something we can't discuss. Can't do it. So President Joe Biden will enforce a mandate that workers at U.S. companies with at least 100 employees be vaccinated against COVID-19 or be tested weekly starting January 4th, spurring legal challenges from Republican governors who say Biden is overstepping his authority. This tested weekly, this is their get out. This is their way to try and mitigate or avoid the fact that this is just a mandate. It's a mandate for the vaccine on a massive, massive amount of workers in the United States. Zero BP, no need to apologize. Don't worry about it. This is a mandate. It is compelling behavior of people not because they work for the government, because they work for someone who works for the government. No, these are actually private companies. Never mind, because they work for someone. This is a huge percentage of Americans, American workers are going to be forced to get this. We know this has been largely implemented at lots of companies, but now even the companies who didn't want to do this are going to be compelled to do this if they have 100 employees or more. What you do, if you're one of these companies and you're close, just fire everyone who voted for Biden. There you go, to get down under 100 employees and avoid the mandate. What's up, Joe? How you doing, buddy? Dude, you're a freaking powerhouse, he says. No, I'm just an idiot. I'm just an idiot. Spurring legal challenges from Republican governors who say Biden is overstepping his authority. Within hours, from governors from Florida, Iowa, and Indiana have vowed to fight the new rule, arguing it infringes on individual freedom. Despite growing political opposition, the delayed rollout of the mandate the delayed rollout of the mandate offered a reprieve to businesses facing labor shortages during the holiday season. I mean, kind of. Oh, yeah, since it's starting January 4th. Yeah, so they've delayed it to give them through Christmas. Wonderful. Very, very nice of them to do that to these businesses. Oh, yeah, you can stay on through Christmas. Now you're fired. Now you're fired because the government said so. Biden's related decision to push back a deadline for federal contractors to the same date suggested the White House accommodated requests from companies and industry groups. Just give us through Christmas before we fire everybody. The administration also said millions of workers in healthcare facilities and nursing homes participating in the Medicare and Medicaid government healthcare programs will need to get their shots by the same date. Let me go ahead and suggest that there's one other reason. There's one other reason that they pushed the deadline out to January 4th. The further out the deadline, the harder it is to get an injunction. There's not much else to say about that. Joe, people are telling me to have you on. Do you want to pop on for a minute and talk about what you're going to be doing tomorrow or anything? You don't have to. No pressure, of course. No pressure, you quitter. You coward. Now, I know it's really late for you, so I don't want to, force anything, but if you do want to come on and tell people what's going on, let me know. The administration also said, Medicare, Medicaid. So healthcare facilities and nursing homes participating in Medicare and Medicaid is pretty much, that's the overwhelming majority of them. Like if your healthcare provider takes government insurance, then there you go. Okay. Let me see. We've got to, I got to send this message to Joe. All right. I'm sending him the link. If he wants to come in, we can check his audio levels and see if they're ruined too. We'll see. We'll see. He says, give me 10 minutes, which, I've heard that before. The action on the private sector vaccinations was taken under the U.S. Occupational Safety and Health Administration. So OSHA, which keeps you from falling off a ladder, is now controlling what vaccines go in your body. Nightbringer Tenchi says, to be fair, if you're in a nursing home, you either have no children or the children you do have hate you. But it's nursing homes and healthcare facilities that take Medicare and Medicaid. My local doctor accepts Medicare. My dentist accepts is it Medicare? The government dental. I don't know. That's an interesting thing. My kid's dentist is in a hospital which accepts Medicare. So the workers there all have to be poked, apparently. Right? Like that's how that goes. So I don't know, man. Again, this is so much. So it's through OSHA. The mandate applies to 84.2 million workers at 1.9 million private sector employees. This is that's a lot of people. That is a lot of people. Another 18.5 million workers for those employers are exempt because they either work remotely or outside all the time, OSHA said. Oh, that's nice. So only if they work inside at all. Um, I know a guy who's bringing suit against the federal government, I believe, on this issue, and his plaintiffs are I think it's 5 men who had COVID already. So they say they have natural immunity and therefore shouldn't be compelled to get the vaccine because of their natural immunity. I'm not making that claim, YouTube. I'm just saying what the basis of the lawsuit is, and they are challenging the mandate. So they have a hearing coming up this month asking, I believe, for an injunction against a nationwide injunction on this. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. So, quote from Biden: "Well, I would have much preferred that requirements not become necessary. Too many people remain unvaccinated for us to get out of this pandemic for good. So I instituted requirements, and they're working. They're not working. They haven't started. They don't start until January 4th. How can you say they're working? It's not even possible. It hasn't even happened." He has to say this because he said they would. They all said they wouldn't do the mandate. They said they would not do it. And here they are doing it. Because of course they are. An average of about they just lie. They lie to get elected. An average of about 1,100 Americans are dying. Let me imagine if Joe Biden had been honest, right? If Joe Biden on the campaign trail says, if I win this election, I'm going to mandate every American gets the vaccine that Donald Trump brought us. Like, just imagine what would have happened to his poll numbers. Just imagine what would have happened if Joe Biden on the campaign trail said he was going to mandate Trump's vaccine into the arms of every single person in the United States. He would have lost in a landslide because his entire base would have abandoned him. Because back then, back in 2020, way back machine, prior to the election, just a little over a year ago, the Democrats were opposed to the vaccine. They didn't trust it because it came from Donald Trump. I can't believe it. It's crazy town. All right. An average of about 1,100 Americans are dying daily from COVID-19, most of them unvaccinated. COVID-19 has killed more than 745,000 people in the United States. We really have 1,100 people dying daily. We have what, 22 people dying in every state per every day on average in every state from COVID-19 still? We really? I'm kind of surprised by that. Where are they all dying? Because when I look at like the COVID deaths in Minnesota, like we don't have 22 deaths a day in Minnesota. We don't have anything even close. I wonder what the let's see. COVID data tracker weekly review. These are reported cases. Hospitalizations. Deaths. Let's see. Where are all these deaths coming from? Like, where are they? So these are daily deaths on the left axis. So here we go. We got this weird, I don't know if you guys can see this very well. Can we shrink this? Yeah. So here's how this works. We got a bunch weekends. No one dies on the weekends, apparently. On the weekends, you seem to be safe or whatever. But then it starts going back up again, apparently. So the moving average is this. I'm still wondering where they're dying from. Or where they're dying, because it's not Minnesota. So anyway, again, I don't, it just is surprising to me that that's a stat. Joe Schmo, yeah, I said 22 per state per day, but like in Minnesota, there's nowhere near 22 people dying per state per day. I don't think, or in our state every day. Minnesota COVID deaths. Oh, wait, no, I guess it's gone back up. So we have apparently our 7-day average in Minnesota is 21. So we are the average. We're very average here in Minnesota. I'm surprised by that because it wasn't that many. Oh, they're all dying in the Twin Cities, which makes sense. What about my county? We have 101 total COVID deaths in my county for the whole time, forever. So anyway. That's not how. Wait, 22 is the average. I said we have 22. We are the average. I'm not saying we. Never mind. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm just sitting here talking about a verboten subject, so I have to be real careful in how I talk about the actual true thing that's going on. But you saw, of course, that Biden has issued the mandate. Finally, he's actually implemented the mandate that he press released a couple months ago.
Yeah, if you weren't sure, you weren't tracking the calendar, and you weren't sure what day of the year we're in or month, and you're wondering, did I miss election day? Did I miss it? Did I not? There are two signs that if you didn't vote yet, you missed election day. One of them that must have been days ago, because one of the signs is that Bergen County just found 50,000 votes for a Democrat. And another sign is that Biden is passing laws that nobody wants. So, yeah, elections are over. It's time to start passing some laws now.
Oh, it's probably not Joe's fault on the audio. Just a second.
I can raise my audio if you want. I had to lower my audio today because it wasn't syncing very well with. Is that better?
I don't know. You sound the same to me, but I don't know. See, I think we might get different results than the audio gets.
Yeah, well, what happened was when I was streaming Arbery today, it was very low, and I had to raise myself and then lower myself, and then other people were too loud. The audio stream on the Arbery case is pretty. I don't know, it's pretty 20th century. So
were you using StreamYard?
I was using StreamYard, yeah.
Dude, I think they had a problem today because my audio on StreamYard after they left your show, Legal Mindset and Legal Bites popped onto my show,
I think
And
everyone's been on your show. You're like the whore of like just bringing people. I
yeah,
counted, and look, I'm only peeking on your show because I got my own thing going on here. I peek it every time I peek in. You got Robert Barnes, you got Viva, you got Legal Mindset, you got Uncivil. Anyone who comes to it's like they come to me and they have like whatever. I'm praying you don't have any like any video diseases because they're just
yeah,
gonna
VD. I have VD. That's right. I'm
video
transmitting
diseases.
my VD to all of
Yeah,
these lawyers.
because the next thing I know, they're on my show, and it's like all of a sudden, it's like I'm catching whatever Nick's got. It's just awful. It's scary. It's like, are you having? Is it painful when you urinate? Are you experiencing?
Well, actually, have you ever? This is how many lawyers I've had inside my show. Let me
Speaking of which,
analogize. Let me analogize this real quick.
Mhm.
When I pee, have you ever taken a bucket and just poured it out? That's what happens to me now. My pelvic floor is just demolished.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of which, I'm not even making this up. Apparently Uranus is visible tonight. So, um,
Every night, really, around here. But
I'm not even making that up. I saw the headline, and yeah, the 12-year-old inside of me started snickering. So
I didn't know that's naked eye visible. I didn't.
yeah, and to
Okay,
everyone. And it
I,
actually the headline on that I saw was Uranus is visible to everybody tonight. So I guess as opposed to most nights. So
there you go. There you go. Okay, so let's talk about what you're doing though.
yes.
You started today.
Mhm.
You are doing a similar thing to what I've been doing, but on a completely different subject. You're covering the
Mhm.
Ahmaud Arbery case.
Yeah, because when there's two real national headline cases that are out there to cover, I picked the boring one that no one cares about because I like a challenge. And I
Yes.
figured I figured, this is the one that, I don't want to I get shy if there's too many people watching, and this way I know that's not going to be a problem. So, yeah, thank God. Thank God I never topped out more than like 50 viewers at a time because yeah, apparently you were killing it. You were killing it today. People would come to me in the middle of the Arbery thing because it was just motions in limine today. I will
Yeah.
say this. I'll tell your audience, those of you who are getting bored with laughing at that Binger or, Mark Richards saying Mark
Wisconsin
Richards
lawyer Mark Richards.
yeah, Mark Richards. I don't like objecting to anything. So it's really good when the prosecution is sinking themselves because that's the only time you don't want you don't want a defense attorney to be objecting too much. So he's
Yeah.
perfect for this kind of case.
Yeah, today he did really great. He didn't have to object a lot of the time.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, and I'll tell you something. I mean, the prosecution. Oh my God, it's like they're just like bringing out one person after another saying that Rosenbaum was like a time bomb, looking to like was he armed? Was he armed with a gun? Was he armed with a knife? Was he was he armed with chains? Was he armed with a baseball bat? That's like all Binger's asking, and like the best answer to that is like no, he was just armed with murderous rage.
yeah, he's just screaming out he tells people that he'll kill them and then later in the evening chases them down screaming at
Screaming
them.
and lunging, falling, lunging, falling, lunging, falling, lunging,
Right.
but not falling. I said falling, but that's really falling forward, not falling down on his falling toward him, reaching for the gun, screaming, F you, I'm gonna kill you. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
one of those really innocent people. But he didn't have a gun. He did not have a knife. He didn't. So the jury knows that. He didn't have a gun or a knife. He just maybe that's why he was lunging. Maybe he wanted a gun. I don't know.
Kind of exactly what Richie what's his name? God, McGinnis
McGinnis.
said.
Yeah.
He's like,
He
like,
didn't
well,
have
I
a
mean,
gun. You're right. He
he
didn't
was
have a gun. He was trying to get Kyle's. That's why he
he's
wanted Kyle's.
falling towards Kyle's gun so he could grab it and murder him with it.
Yeah.
Like,
But did he tell you that? You don't know that just because he was screaming "F you, I'm going to kill you." It doesn't mean he really was trying. You don't know. You don't know. Who
when you
knows?
say he was reaching for the front of the gun, the little barrel it's just the end of it, right? Where the bullet comes out. He's like, no, it'd be more like the whole barrel.
The whole he's yeah. It was yeah. Oh my God, what a bad day for Binger. What a bad day. But I'm going to share with you a thought here, because if you check
Yeah.
the mainstream media, what are they talking about today? They're talking about juror excused for racist joke,
Yep. And the
and then
funny thing is that juror, I can almost guarantee you that that juror was opposed to Kyle, like upon consideration of what the joke was. Did you hear the joke?
yeah, I did. Actually, Barnes told the joke over on my stream.
Yeah.
Now I'm not going to say that he was saying it because Barnes, has, thought it was funny, even though
I
it's
think it's
possible
funny,
he did.
but no, it's not a racist joke though. This gets pinned on me, okay? Let me tell you a quick story. Let me tell you a quick story.
Just
All right?
before you tell me the story, I do want to
Yeah.
hear it. I don't want anyone to misconstrue. Barnes was saying it purely over to say what the juror said. It's not that he
Right.
was saying the joke. He happened to say the same joke. He was revealing what the joke was that the juror was excused for. But please tell
Yeah.
me your thoughts.
No, so in a completely different context, I've been covering the Vic Mignogna case, still waiting for that to come back on appeal.
Who? I never heard you mention him before. You've
Yeah, okay,
just kidding.
anyway.
You go.
There's one live stream where his past through the deposition, his past came out or whatever, and he was briefly a cop. He was very briefly a cop. And I said this joke, and it's the same as the juror joke. As I said, Vic wouldn't have made a good cop. He doesn't like to shoot black people. Right? That's not a joke about black people.
That's a
That's
joke
a
about
joke about
cops.
cops.
That's a joke about cops that they generally shoot black. They generally shoot black
Right.
people.
The person said, why did the cops stop shooting Jacob Blake or only shoot Jacob Blake 7 times or whatever? It's because they ran out of bullets. That's a joke on the cop. That's
I
not
don't
a
think they
joke
say
on.
only. I said, why did he shoot him 7 times? Only makes it very different. The word only in this context, just being a lawyer for a second, if you say
Sure.
only, then definitely when you leave out the word only, it's actually it's a funnier joke, because it's implying like, I'm going to give you a real reason, and that makes it more of a racist joke.
I
Meaning,
don't
why
think
did he
it's
shoot him
racist.
why did he shoot him 7 times? He ran out of bullets, as opposed to why did he only shoot him 7 times?
It only makes it more racist.
Why did he only shoot him 7 times? And your
Actually,
way,
no,
he's
they're
saying,
both. Neither of them are racist. They're both cop jokes. They're just
yeah,
cop jokes.
you know what? It really, let's be fair. If I can understand someone taking it as a racist joke. You can't understand how
No,
I agree
I
with you. It might
can't.
not be racist, but you can't even understand how it would be a racist joke.
I mean, the only reason I can understand that it's a racist joke is because people said that my joke was racist.
Okay. I'll tell you this. You know
Yeah.
why? I'll tell you why it's racist. Because you're basically making light of the fact that police shoot black people. You're making light of that fact as if
I mean,
that's
I
not
don't
a
know if
serious
you're.
thing. It's not as if that's not a serious thing. I mean, it's like basically saying, like, why did, they, if you change it with Polak, you would get, you would feel, I mean, look, because
Nah,
I think about it like, if
it's a
someone
cop
said like,
thing.
why Hitler kill only 6 million Jews, it's like it's basically making light of a situation that's considered a plight. Now, I personally do not believe that
Maybe
cops go out shooting black people intentionally. That is a perception that's out there. I think that
just
when you look at,
accidentally. I'm just
no,
kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking. Go
and
ahead.
I think one of the things that people really overlook when they talk about this topic is that they always say cop kills black person. They never mention whether the cop himself was black.
Right.
And many of those situations,
Well,
they are. So the assumption is, oh, if a cop shoots a black person, there must be some sort of racist motive in the cop's mind. And never once do they ever think to themselves, wait, was the cop even white? Was, because a lot of cops are black, and a lot of black cops end up, they're just as prone to shoot a black person and that actually would help refute the statistics. Because if you look at the percentage of cops overall on the police force in America, and then we look at how often are black cops involved in killing a black victim, a black suspect, and compare that number to what percentage of the time is a white cop who ends up killing it, then you can start seeing to yourself, is this really a problem that white cops are trying to kill black people? Or is it just, no, cops are going to screw up sometimes, and or they're in a difficult, not even screw up necessarily, but they're in a difficult circumstance, and sometimes it's either you or the perp, and you have to pull the trigger, and that's just and if you're putting yourself in a dangerous situation, that's reality. You're more likely to get shot by a cop. So
I love Warhawk of Chigora says, "Leave it to lawyers to fuck up a joke."
oh, please, they come here for lawyer humor.
No, but I'm actually like, at first I was like, oh, it's a joke, but then when they said the joke, I was like, you know what? Actually, no, I think that juror should have been removed because I think that juror is actually prejudicial to Kyle. I think that's an all cops are bad joke, and I think that is. I do not think that the person saying that joke meant it in a racist way. I can see people taking it racist. Sure. I think they'd be wrong. I'm pretty sure that's an all cops.
So
if you're
Binger, you're saying you want him on the trial?
No, I think Binger didn't want him on the Binger.
But you're saying Binger was wrong. It's not a racist joke. So if you're Binger in that situation, you're saying he's good for me. I want him on the trial. I want him in the jury.
I don't think that's. I think for Binger, he still wants him off the trial too, because that's the type of issue that comes back on appeal.
No, okay.
I mean, you've got a clear prejudicial joke that is brought to the attention of the court, and then the prosecutor argues to keep him over the defense, and they do, and then they get a conviction. That comes back on appeal. Right. So but no,
I mentioned how media that's all the reporting, and then they give key points that came out today, and they never talk about the fact that Rosenbaum was cited as saying "F you, I'm going to kill you" like 47 times today, or that every one of Binger's witnesses, he basically ended up cross-examining his own witnesses and saying, "But you're a liar because you did this. You're a liar. You lied about your name. you put him up there. Why'd you put a liar up there for us?" So every time he was up there, I mean, Gruler, I watched Gruler's breakdown just now. I just finished watching it, and I turned you on because I obviously was busy with my own thing today. And he did a phenomenal breakdown, and he also showed you a lot of love. So,
oh, did he?
Yeah, he did. He mentioned your name came up several times on his stream, and he shared a lot of love. He made reference to an Attorney Tom thing. What?
I said, what a bro.
Yeah, he is. He was talking about, everyone was saying, Rob, you got to get on Ricketter's show. And he's like, yeah, I got to find the time. I'm probably going to end up on there at some point. But yeah, he was really great. And then he mentioned that you were talking about Attorney Tom laughing in his videos. And that he caught your stream. He was watching your stream and he sees you saying, maybe someone should explain to an attorney who's making videos that's not so good to laugh. And then he started saying that he was hoping that you were actually talking about him, that you were going to be mocking him and giving him, I guess, the free pub or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, I missed it when you did that. And I was wondering if I inspired you on that with, if
well,
was that from me, or did I do that?
You helped.
Okay.
You helped. I haven't done the thing that you sent. I was just talking about attorneys who can't tell good jokes, and the attorney who was in the chat who I was specifically referencing was Attorney Tom, and he deserved it because that guy sucks at telling jokes, and I hate him forever. But yeah, so you are covering Ahmaud Arbery. The full trial begins tomorrow.
Yes, opening arguments are. Look, they're slated to start tomorrow. I'm gonna be frank with you. I mean, the motions in limine today, it was torture. Thank God I had a lot of company. A lot of different attorneys were coming on. The motions in limine, which is for your audience's, in edification, that just means that they're basically bringing motions as to what they are not going to be able to do during the course of the trial. Mm-hmm. And so they spent a full day doing that. And some of the issues were moderately interesting. Many of them were boring, and I would sort of even just sort of close off the screen and talk to my guests. But we are supposed to have opening arguments, opening statements from the state and from defense counsels, which is 3 defense counsels, coming up tomorrow. And that is where the case pretty much gets decided, according to Robert Barnes. So, yeah, that's going to be tomorrow. I don't know if it's going to be starting at 9 a.m. I'll be starting at 9 a.m., God willing. But it should be, pretty early in the morning is when we're going to be getting their opening arguments. And look, your case is sexy. I'm not going to kid you. Your case is awesome. Okay. It's something that everyone, as Americans, we're all rooting for Kyle, and, he's standing up for our right to defend ourselves from looters and rioters, our right to self-defense. This is a story. His story is our story, and the concept of a kid being railroaded by a system of leftism that basically is like, we want to punish someone. There's a dead BLM supporter. We got to punish whoever was involved, even if they did really as little wrong as anyone could possibly imagine. And this is a classic self-defense case. So that makes your case like
Yeah.
the sexiest thing in the world, because everyone's
It's
like, I want to see justice prevail here.
and it's
Mike,
it's one of the
yeah,
most important Second Amendment cases because, or not Second Amendment, self-defense cases, because it's such a good instance of self-defense. It's
hmm
so good that it shouldn't be tried. It
yes.
shouldn't have been prosecuted. And so that's what really makes it, is like, we have to go, this shouldn't be prosecuted because the facts are so good, but it's being prosecuted, and that is terrifying.
Think of how bad Binger's case is. That he's trying to prove his case by bringing witnesses who appeared on Tucker Carlson. I mean, they're appearing on Tucker Carlson in segments that Tucker is like promoting them, supporting them. And these are his choice witness. These are who he's forced to bring out there. And when they don't say exactly what he's hoping they're going to say, he tries to refute them by bringing them. Here's Tucker. I hope they bring Tucker. I mean, the way he's going right now, he's got no one else left to bring but Tucker Carlson. Imagine him trotting out there and saying, "But
Play
wait,
some Tucker clips.
didn't you think? Didn't you think that maybe when you were saying falling, I don't know what the hell he's going to do. If you're Binger, you got a real problem there. But your case is sexy. Your case is delicious, and that's why And you do, and not to take anything away from you, you do a great job with it, and your guests do a great job with it. So your views, thankfully, are great, skyrocketing, and I only hope you get 10 times as many, because you do a great job with it. My case is more of a thing like it's a curiosity. It's like sort of like it's a car accident, because you're almost like, I don't know if I'm rooting for these guys or not. Like, I can't figure out what they were doing. I can't figure out whether they're right. I can't figure out whether they're wrong. And it's more of like, to me, this case is, I keep going back and forth on a lot of legal questions, a lot of legal elements and legal theories that are sort of perplexing, like whether you can reestablish a right to self-defense if you're in the wrong, and
And how you
re-examining
get
felony
there.
murder. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. And re-examining the rationale behind felony murder, and how do you attach these murders to the guy who's driving in the car behind? Like, where the hell is that coming from? I'm very much on his side. The driver, Roddy, the guy, his name is Brian, is William Roddy Brian.
The guy filming.
Yes, the filmer
Okay.
we all saw the video of the guy, of the father-son team, who ended up, the son pulls the trigger. It's being shot by a guy behind them who was helping corner him with his car, and he has been charged equally for all of the different charges that were levied. There were 9 charges that were raised against the defendants, and all 3 of them are charged equally, as if he was the one who pulled the trigger himself.
Yeah,
And
he's being charged as an accessory. I mean,
not as no. I mean, based on his accessory status, he's being
Yeah.
charged as if he's the one who pulled it.
Right.
No less culpable than the guy who pulls the trigger, who popped out and wrestled the gun. And even though he's 50 feet away, as far as we know, he's never been
Now,
closer than 50 feet to Arbery. And that's, to me, I hope he ends up getting out of it. Like, I sort of sympathize with him, even though he might have helped funnel him toward him. I don't think there's any way you can say he could have foreseen this. The other ones,
there's
I'm less sure about, personally.
I feel like I remember reading a long time ago that they thought that Roddy might be the guy who hit Arbery with his vehicle as he's running.
So,
And so that'll be an
yeah,
interesting fact if that comes to light. I don't know.
the charges seem confused about who it is, because one of the charges is assault with the car, and they charge both cars with hitting him. I doubt he was hit twice. So I'm not sure if the prosecutor herself knows, which car hit her. I guess maybe the autopsy reveals that he was struck by a car at one point.
I think they found fibers that matched his on some part of the car.
Oh yeah.
Again, I'm going off of memory of a news article from 10 months ago or something. So or whenever this happened. So this is not perfect recall. It's what I remember reading at some point. So that's what makes me really curious, because we do have the video, and
Mm-hmm.
by that video alone, I go with self-defense. Even for McMichael's, I go with self-defense. Looks like a bad situation. I don't want anybody dead, but based on just the video. But the video starts in medias res, right? We're in the
So
middle of this
I want to
thing.
ask you your theory on that. Let's stop for a second here, okay? You're
Sure,
saying that it looks like easy self-defense. I'm going to ask you this: if you
sure.
walk into my house and held a gun to me, and I reach for the gun and fight you for the gun, and then you end up shooting me, you're going to say that's self-defense?
But they're not in the house.
Okay, fine. I'm on my front lawn, and you come over and aim a gun at me, and I try to wrestle it from you. You shoot me. Is that self-defense? If they're in the right when they pull the gun, if they are acting under a true color of law rather than a fictional color of law, and they're within the metes and bounds of the law, then yeah, okay, I can understand there's a self-defense sort of thing that's happening here. But if they are beyond the scope of what the law allows them to do, the
Yeah, well,
law.
but that's the fact questions that I'm not versed in this, and I haven't watched the video in a long time.
Mhm.
I don't remember if he aims the gun prior to Arbery turning and charging towards him at that
So
point.
I honestly don't remember either. It's not like I've been
Yeah,
reviewing the video. I'm sort of want to walk into it fresh, like I'm a juror.
yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? I think I'll have a healthier perspective on the whole thing if I walk in. I know the overall facts, but if I want to walk in without having that video fresh in my mind, so I can sort of see how effective is the prosecution in swaying me towards thinking that they're guilty and which of them are guilty. And I think that'll be a truer test, that I'll give a truer opinion and feel less partial toward a particular outcome. And I think I'll be able to do a more effective job at laying out the effectiveness of counsel on both sides by coming in with that approach. So I kind of like being unsullied with opinion.
Yeah, no,
I'm one of the unsullied. Like
that's why I don't know if you want to be that. We have to have some
cut my
words about
nipple.
what happens next. No, that's why I'm interested in the case, is because like from the video that I remember watching, I think you've got self-defense, because I don't remember him aiming. But if he did aim prior to him running, then, different type of story. But there's also this whole part of, did they provoke the encounter
Yeah.
prior to the video
Through the
recording?
false imprisonment,
Right.
through cornering him. Does that provoke him to think like? And also, one of the things they were talking about in the motions in limine today, and this was an interesting thing that I think you as a lawyer and enjoy thinking things through rationally. So one of the things they were talking about is the license plate on the McMichael car had a Confederate flag,
Right.
and the question is, how does that play into what his action and his expectation as to why they're there and what they're doing, whether they're actually trying to do the right thing, or whether they're trying to wrongfully lynch him because he's jogging while black.
Wait,
So
who Arbery?
yeah, in other words, you're saying
But so
self-defense. You're
but
saying
see,
self-defense. So
yeah,
if you
and the question is, what does Arbery's perception matter at all to that question?
and I asked that question during the course of motions in limine. So the judge was weighing two different factors, which both played into Arbery's mindset. And right away, I had uncivil there, and I was pointing out to him. I was like, "Who cares what his mindset is? Why should that be relevant at all?
Yeah.
What we care about is McMichael's mindset. We care about what is their motive and why they're doing what they're doing. That matters a lot. But what Arbery's thinking, we just need to judge his actions and whether they responded appropriately,
Right.
or and his mindset shouldn't really be relevant. But if we get into a situation of self-defense, here's why you're the one who just made me think his mindset might matter. Because if you provoke him, or should have realized, maybe not intentionally, but constructively, there's an intention to provoke him. When you start, if you imagine they had swastikas all over their car, and they start driving, they're blaring Sig Heil as they're like chasing after him. So, and you make him think that he's in some horrible movie from the 1960s. So, because he's jogging in the wrong area with the wrong skin color. So you could understand how now you don't start telling me your self-defense. You made him think you're about to kill him. So you can
Yeah, I
understand
mean,
why his mindset matters, that if you're influencing his mindset, that does matter.
but see, you've got a little bit different thing because you've got an overt act, right? You've got in your hypothetical, the car is painted up with Nazi swastikas, and you're driving blaring the Sig Heil. We're talking about a Confederate flag incidentally on a license plate. That's a pretty big difference.
Okay, it is to me and you, because I don't look at a Confederate flag as being that big a deal. I don't look at it as being a symbol of racism or of hate towards black people. But I don't know that that's actually the way everyone. I don't know that that's the way everyone looks at it, and especially I don't know that that's the way black people look at it. With what the media has been drilling into their minds, I mean, and I think it's not crazy to think that if there was Confederate flag, if it was the Dukes of Hazzard card there, I mean, you can understand why that might freak him out. I mean, well, no, that would actually make me think, wow, that's cool. Look, it's the Dukes of Hazzard card. But so another bad example. I'm sorry, but I think you can understand how there's certain actions that you shouldn't realize how this is going to come across to the person that you're chasing, and
Yeah, I
that.
mean, again, I think an action, but I think an incidental Confederate flag on a license plate. Again, if you go with the General Lee, you've got the Confederate flag painted across the car in a couple different places. Maybe it's different, but I actually don't. I don't think you can say this is one of my problems I had with Charlottesville. Right,
Mhm.
so Charlottesville has James Fields who runs into a car, and that car runs into Heather Heyer, and she dies. And part of the motion in limine that they lost on this motion in limine, which blew my mind, is he texted his mother a picture of Adolf Hitler at some time prior to the event.
Right. Okay. That should
And
not be
so
relevant.
it
That should
should
not be
not be,
relevant.
but it was allowed in. And we're like, wait a minute. Uh, Again, I
That
don't know
should
the
not be relevant, but I'll tell you the whole crowd chanting, if he's joining the crowd chanting "Jews will not control us," which is what they were chanting at Charlottesville. I mean, not all of them. There were some very fine people there, but on both sides, there were some very fine protesters on both sides.
okay, Trump. Yeah. No,
There
but
was,
see,
yeah.
even if he's saying Jews will not control us, right? Like he's chanting that. I'll even give it. I have
While
no idea.
marching with the torches, I saw a video of this, and it reminded
Right.
me of like 1930s Germany.
Right. But let's say he does that. And then actually I'm pretty sure he couldn't have because the his car hit the chick in the day. And I think the torch marching was at night, wasn't it?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm I'm I I'm making a point here that certain things
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
if it's relevant to the actual situation that he's involved in, then
Right.
yeah, I think that would be
Yeah.
relevant.
And that's the
Some picture of
provocation
Hitler,
question in general.
right? Some picture of Hitler that he sent a week earlier is irrelevant, or 6 months or 6 years earlier, all the more so, is irrelevant. So, yeah,
Yeah. So it's weird. I get real iffy on trying to do the present sense impression of Arbery because and this is something that Andrew Branca and I talked about when we talked about the case is that Arbery can be reasonably in fear of his own life and acting in self-defense in grabbing for the gun.
mhm.
That is perfectly
And
fine.
both two people can have self-defense,
Right.
valid
We talked about
self-defense
this just
claims.
the other day, I
Yeah,
think.
we did. I know, but you're
I'm
tired.
relitigating the issue
Yeah,
here.
yeah. You did mention Bronco to me last time. I actually tried to reach out to him. He doesn't allow for DMs unless he follows me, which he doesn't. So if you have contact info, and you could
I
just
said
reach out to
email
him.
him.
Oh, I don't know. Where do I find the guy?
Lawofselfdefense.com.
All right, fine. I'll
Yeah.
try to find him that way.
Yeah, that's how I reached out to him was through email.
Okay.
And he was responsive at the time. I don't he's watching Rittenhouse, he's watching Arbery, so I don't know, but the
Hmm.
man he's like Barnes, right?
Hmm.
Like you're like, how the hell do you have time to read up and follow and watch all these things and know about
Right.
everything that's going on?
Right.
That's how I feel when I look at when I like follow up with
Yeah.
what he's doing.
When I'm
So
talking to Robert Barnes, yeah, and then all of a sudden we'll have a planned topic, and all of a sudden the topic, it's like we're having this whole thing about self defense, and the next thing you know, the topic is veering off into like something about like voter election laws in the 1850s, and he's like, oh yeah, sure, that just obviously everyone knows Williams v. Johnson, SCOTUS made clear that. I'm like, how are you doing this? How are you doing that? It's kind of freaky to me. The
yeah.
storehouse of information about cases that they're able to just cite off. And yeah, so if he's another one of those, all the better. I'd love to have him join me on a stream while we're watch it together with him, and that's what I want to invite him to do.
Yeah, if you
So
can't find his email, text me and
all right,
I'll dig it up. Because
I
I've
want
got it
to
somewhere.
I want to thank you that I actually got a text from Drex tonight.
Oh yeah?
So yeah, and he reached out to me, and hopefully my people are talking to his people, and I'm trying to get him on for a Sunday night. So, you know, my
Yeah.
in locals, there's a whole crew of my people, which were basically saying, made a list of questions and topics they want me to like debate him on. So I don't even know how that's going to play, but I'm sure it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. That's going to be hopefully 10 o'clock on Sunday evening. But I don't know,
That'll be good.
how do you do this? How do you stream for 8 hours and then go for 3
10.
hours, 10 hours? What's wrong with you?
Many things.
No, look,
here's
you don't
how
need
I do
you
this.
don't need the money. Like
Here's
you should just take the next 2 weeks off from streaming at night and say, look, you want to catch me? You got 10 hours to find me during the day.
No, here's what I learned a long time ago. I was
Mhm,
talking with I met up with a guy down in Tampa.
mhm.
Weird. And went we got some barbecue and we're talking. He's like, "Man, I love your show. I, I drive at night. I drive truck at night, and it's just great to have something." And I was like, sometimes I get to this point where I don't really have something to talk about, and I don't know if I should do a show. And he's like, "No, please just do one. Just do a show because it's great to have something and someone I like to listen to or whatever." So the nighttime show is where I've built up my core community. So I'm gonna keep it, and I'm gonna be as
I wasn't
faithful to
telling you
that
to
show as
I wasn't telling you to
no,
abandon. I'm sure your
I
audience is booing me right now for telling you not to kill yourself. I'm sure they're like, get this Jew off there. They're screaming, and I'm positive. I'm not looking at the chat at all. I am positive I'm getting tons of hate and threats at my family for telling you to take a night off here and there. But
you said 2 weeks. That's not here and there.
I'm you know what? I'm thinking I got like 3 or 4 weeks now of this trial. I'm going to be doing 8 or 9 hours a day. And I'm like, how the heck am I supposed to stream at 10 o'clock at night when I finish streaming this thing at 5? Like, when am I supposed to like function and then wake up and be on time? I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to do this. But at the same time, I don't want to alienate my nighttime audience. Like you're saying, like,
Yeah.
this is your bread and butter. And you can't alienate them because you have a whole special going on now for a few weeks.
These are
So
my people, and I decided a long time ago that I was going to do this show at the 11 o'clock show as long as I possibly can.
they
I
are
mean,
your
there's
right. They're your ride or die, basically. They are your ride
yeah,
or die, and they're
yeah.
great.
So
And you have a phenomenal audience. It's not just that you have people. You actually have people who engage the show. You have people who care about the topics to talk about. They care about your opinion, and they're very faithful. So so yeah, kudos to you for the dedication that you showed. I think it's a mutual dedication. It's kind of a beautiful thing to see. I'm going to start getting weepy if I talk about it much more. But
I have a super chat for you.
oh, okay.
This is in reference to the Unsullied comment you made.
Nice.
Super Iron Bob says, Joe, I thought you guys only took a bit from the tip, not the whole hog.
I like it. I see what you did there.
Let's see. Bad Vibe says, let's chew on some legality with Jude Law and the nasally gifted grifter.
So some people have been saying I should have been calling myself Jude Logic. That's become like a new theme that someone threw out there, that I should go with Jude Logic. I'm not, my goal is not to like make it all about like my religion. So yeah, it really would have been counterintuitive to what the whole agenda is. But
I got to read this one real quick. Mr.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan says, dealing with my mom's estate probate in Hawaii. She died on the 20th of October. Rest in peace, by the way.
Indeed.
Guess the lawyer didn't have e-transfer set up, so I had to mail her money orders as I don't have a bank in this state. Also, my mom took J&J a week before she died.
Good job reading that out loud. So,
well,
now you're no longer monetized.
No comment. No comment about it, man. I'm really sorry to hear about your mom. That sucks.
Right.
It's awful.
Sorry about that too.
Yeah. So, speaking of that, do you want to say anything about the federal requirement? I mean, that's what I was talking about when you popped on.
OSHA. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the OSHA. 100 plus employees means you got to get the jab, except there's an exempted number of people who either work from home all the time or they are always outside. They are exempted from the OSHA regulation.
Oh, the outdoor thing is makes it a more logical sort of thing. You would think
all of this is engineered to make it harder to get an injunction, right?
Right, harder to shoot it down. There's no religious exemption though, and I think they specifically waited until the court weighed in on that and said we're not gonna invalidate these laws for lacking a religious exemption. And once they saw that they had Gorsuch, not Gorsuch, they had Kavanaugh and Barrett in their pocket on that particular issue, so they could have said, okay, all you religious freaks, you can go jump in a lake. We don't have to cater to you. So I think that was another wise thing. For I'm gauging the wisdom of my enemy, so I'm saying that was a wise move on their part, that they held off on issuing this mandate to make it as broad as possible while as sustainable under law as possible, which makes it that much harder for people on our side of the ledger to try and get knocked off. So when they basically now see the Supreme Court has already ruled in Maine and they made it crystal clear, religious exemption on this topic not going to help you. And that's because Amy Coney Barrett is a sellout shill, as is Kavanaugh.
Did they actually rule on it, or did they just refuse to issue an injunction or refuse to hear the case?
They said until we're not going to. My recollection is they said, well, we haven't been able to have a full assessment, I think there wasn't a full trial as to testing out the statistical impact or something of that nature, and that on a short shrift we don't want to weigh in on this, which is it's signaling to both sides where it's going.
I love that they don't have a statistical thing on such a short shrift. Did you see the docket schedule on the Texas abortion case?
No, I didn't see that. What is that?
So Texas has their heartbeat abortion ban.
The heartbeat abortion, which is a private right, it's not a government thing.
They filed the case or whatever. The government filed the case against Texas, and there's a separate private action that was filed as well. Petition for cert was granted cert, had 5 days to write their brief. The response was due 2 days later. An oral argument was like 3 days after that.
They already had oral argument on this topic?
It's already done.
Because I did a stream with Nate where I covered oral argument on the Second Amendment issue that was brought up in New York Rifle Association versus Bruin. And so, I mean, we only covered the first hour where they were questioning the counsel for the petitioner who's trying to get the statute invalidated. And I'm trying to remember the guy's name, the attorney for New York Rifle Association.
I'm not going to know it.
Yeah, he was brilliant. I mean, every question that he was thrown at by the left or the right, and you could see right away where everyone's coming from. This is going to come 6-3 in favor of the petitioner. That statute's going to be cooked. That's my prediction here. Thank God. I mean, I haven't gotten to their questioning of the state yet, because it took me 2.5 hours to go through that first hour with Nate. We plan on wrapping that up on 11 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. But yeah, he was really brilliant. They were looking at the historical aspects of laws about gun control and going all the way back to 1780s and then Reconstruction period and 1920s and and um, Kavanaugh. Kavanaugh, the first time I ever heard him say anything based, he's like, okay, so counselor, which yardstick do you think we should use? Should we use intermediate or should we use strict scrutiny here? And and the attorney was like, look, as long as intermediate, you're going to say it's going to be narrowly tailored, that's fine. And Kavanaugh's response was, I don't think that's going to be fine. I think that's not going to, I don't think that would work because I think judges are going to just claim it's narrowly tailored when it's not. I think you would need strict scrutiny. He
Of
was like
course you need strict
harsher.
scrutiny.
Yeah.
This
He
is
was
an
actually being
enumerated
harsher.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and they were trying to analogize it to the First Amendment and saying
Yes.
that it's like free speech and but yeah, even Barrett seemed to be along with it, and even Roberts didn't really ask any questions at all. But my take on it was this is easily 5-4 and probably 6-3. I think Roberts going to go along with it. So again, I haven't done the last hour yet when they're questioning the state, but even by all media reports, they say that the questioning went really well for the petitioners in this. So thank God on that. Tell me about the abortion thing. How's that been going?
I have no idea. They did oral argument, I think, on Monday. So I've been covering Rittenhouse. But I mean, we're talking the briefing and oral argument schedule. This is my point. Like they say, oh, well, on this COVID stuff, we don't have enough data and time or whatever. The Texas thing, this law just went into effect. And we've already had oral arguments at the Supreme Court within, what, 3 months?
Right.
Like that's it's unrealistically fast how quickly we went from law to the Supreme Court. Nowhere else. Again, it is the most sacredly protected right in the entire country is the right for a woman to kill an unborn baby. It is amazing to me.
It's horrifying. It's really, really horrifying how thirsty they are for the blood of fetuses. It's horrifying. Do you think that's a bad sign that they put it on such a fast track?
Yes. Yeah.
It can't be a good sign, right? It can't be a good sign. Although they denied the TRO and they said the same short shrift thing.
Yeah, if they deny the TRO, but they go, okay, we're going to have this resolved. We'll have oral arguments. And then they're going to have out an opinion by Thanksgiving. I mean, because it could.
Yeah. Okay. But let me ask you this. I mean, who do you? I in general, I tend to feel like okay, we can rely on Thomas, right? You can rely on Alito. I'm feeling very comfortable about Gorsuch in general. He's been pretty based. It really comes down to the other two kids on the block, in Kavanaugh and Barrett, and Kavanaugh strikes me as being she's hated on Roe v. Wade in the past. So I think in this area, even though I think she's a rhino.
Wait, Barrett?
Yeah, Amy Coney.
Oh, I thought you said Kavanaugh. Okay, sorry.
No, so my mistake. If I misspoke, I misspoke. So I apologize. Yeah, so Barrett has in the past hated on Roe v. Wade. In fact, at her confirmation, that's one of the things the left kept bringing up is like, didn't you read all these articles saying how Roe v. Wade was like pretty much the most unsound legal decision you'd ever read in your life? And Kamala, which is at this point she was, she wasn't anywhere close to VP. She was like, please don't rip down Roe v. Wade. Please, she was like begging. She's like, so many women need to kill their fetuses. Please don't do that. And because they all feel that she's really strongly in favor, it's going to come down to Kavanaugh. I think Roberts. He's useless.
He is worthless. He may as well not be on the bench. We could just have 8 justices and Roberts could be gone. We'd have the same outcome basically for every decision at this point.
And I'm telling you this. Look, I love Trump. I think his policies were phenomenal, but to go 1 for 3 on your justices pick, that's pitiful. That's pitiful. That's just dreadful. And these young kids are going to be there probably the rest of both our lives. I mean, or close to it. I mean, they're going to be there for the next 20, 30 years. Amy Coney Barrett's 50. So she's going to be there God knows how long. And she's Roberts. She's basically Roberts in a dress.
She's been better than Roberts so far, but yeah, we'll see how that matures. She hasn't been great, but
Tell me one
Yeah.
good thing. Tell me one good decision you like that she gave us that Roberts didn't. You say she's better than Roberts. Tell me one. Can you think of
She's
one case that she was better than Roberts?
I don't know the case name, but she hit the one of the religious exemptions to lockdowns during in
Oh,
LA, I think.
the Aguda case, the cathedral case, the archbishop case, where they were saying that your lockdowns. Okay, you're right. I think in that one, I think when the decision that was one of Gorsuch's first decisions that he drafted, where he slammed Roberts for relying on relying on that 1905 case that they love to cite.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll tell you right now, I can't stand her, and it's so sad that a year ago I was like, I had an I Heart ACB pin like I was wearing around, and I'm embarrassed. Like my kids show me those pictures, like, oh, where's your pin now, Dad? Where's your pin now? But what am I going to do? She's been an utter disappointment to me. So,
Yeah.
OSHA, I'll tell you right now. What are your thoughts? I mean, do you think there's any chance it's going to get knocked down in the Supreme Court?
No. And
I
it
don't
pains
either.
me to say that. How on earth are we here where they can, well, sorry, you have a job. Now you're mandated to do this because OSHA, like this isn't what OSHA was ever for, right? OSHA is put ventilators in coal mines. OSHA is don't fall off ladders. OSHA is let's eliminate slipping hazards when we have cement workplaces and forklifts driving around. That's OSHA. OSHA is not controlling your literal medicinal care, right? Like, are
Yeah.
they?
And
Am
you
I
and I are
wrong on
basically
this?
two of the only people on the planet who are like not affected by this because we don't have employers. We can basically who else? But our kids are going to be affected by it. Your kids are going to be forced to go to public school soon. I mean, are they in public school? They're not in public
No,
school.
we homeschool.
Okay.
Um,
So and what if they pass a law saying that that to go to pizza stores or anything that you have to this is the next step. It's the next
yeah.
step.
Well, I'm just waiting. At some point, it's going to be, well, you need to have this thing to fly, and then it's going to be you need to have this thing to go to the store.
That's going to be I'll tell you right now, I think that the flight thing, that's going to be before I think that could be before New Year's even. That's coming soon.
They're trying to pass it. And the thing that worries me is this election that just happened. Virginia goes red. New Jersey barely squeaks by on blue, right? Barely squeaks by, razor thin margin when it was supposed to be an 11-point blowout. And they're looking at this going, we're going to get killed at midterms and our agenda is dead next year. They know that by this time, 2022, they can't pass anything.
That's not true. January when they get sworn in. But
Or
yeah, you're right.
sorry, January
14
2022.
months from now, they're done.
Yeah. And they know it. And that's what worries me is that we may see some push on it. And the question is, will Manchin hold out? Like it's Manchin's the one guy holding out on all of this stuff. It's like, is he going to continue to hold out on this?
He's
Under that political pressure.
President Joe Manchin. He's got he's got more power than Biden has. Yeah. He I think on the $3.5 trillion thing, I think on the Build Back Better thing, I think he'll hold out. I think that I don't think we're going to see court packing. I don't think that what everyone was so afraid of. I don't think we're going to see that. I think that's wildly unpopular. I do think that the laws that dare not be named, I think that they're going to be worse and worse. I think it's going to be a disaster. They're going to make it almost impossible to operate any kind of normal lifestyle unless you comply.
Yeah, and that really concerns me. It's less about the actual jab, and it's more the principle, the idea. And this is the thing with Obamacare too. It was the same thing. It's like, wait, if they can mandate you by virtue of being alive to buy something, what can't they do? Like, what can't the government do if they can mandate you to go out and purchase something that you otherwise might not have? And again, I think having health insurance is a wise choice. I have 5 children. They have to go to the doctor all the time. If you don't have health insurance with children, they're the kids are much, in my experience, kids are much more likely to end up in a hospital than me because they'll get like RSV and they'll need to go on a nebulizer or something.
Yeah,
I've had that happen with a couple kids, and it's like if I get a cold, I'm probably not going to a hospital. But if a kid gets a cold and they're 2, they might end up in a hospital.
true.
So you have to, like, if you got kids, health insurance makes a lot of sense. I'm not opposed to it, but I am opposed to the compulsion to buy it. 100% opposed to it.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with this.
Because you're one of those silly people who believes in freedoms and making your own choices and a personal accountability and decision making on your own in the hands of the individual, and it's very, very old school. That's like 19th century kind of thinking. You're very, very old school.
It's so much more nefarious than just the simple aspect of freedom and making choices, right? Because if I don't want to go to a stoplight and stop, I can drive around the stoplight, presumably. Well, a lot of situations, I could take an alternate route. I
Right.
might stop at a bunch of stop signs. It may be an extra mile or whatever. But if I hate that stoplight, I don't have to go. If I'm sitting in my house with quiet enjoyment, and then I can willfully choose to get up and go to the store or whatever I want to do, but then I return to my place of rest and not have to do something. When the government compels your action, it disturbs your ability to not do. And that is way more offensive to me than disturbing my ability to do, right? Putting a restriction on me, and I don't like restrictions either, but restricting my desire to do something is one bridge, but the much farther bridge is forcing me to get up from not doing something. I'm sitting on my couch alone.
Incomparably farther. It's the exact same difference
Yes.
between restricted speech and compelled speech. It's the exact same thing, and that's what Jordan Peterson. That's where he became famous, arguing about Bill C-16 and compelled speech versus restricted speech. And you're making the exact same claim, and it's an irrefutable claim that.
Yeah.
How can you possibly compel me to do anything? Where do you get the authority to think that you have that's your role? You're chosen by us. That means you can tell me what I must do X. That's insanity. That's dystopian. That right there is dystopian.
Yeah, and it's the craziness that it started a long time ago. It's been building and building and building, but we seem to be accelerating on this idea that freedom and liberty are no longer, they're not only are they no longer in style, like they're no longer publicly in style. People want this. They want this control.
Yes. The under 30 crowd overwhelmingly craves it, which is why socialism is so much in vogue right now, because it's basically, we're going to control your life, make decisions for you. You're too stupid or selfish or incapable to actually decide things for yourselves. We want daddy government to take care of us, and whatever they say is that's our new parents. And destroy,
Right.
and while we're at it, destroy the nuclear family, because that's all because then your parents might get in the way they might teach you to like not want to listen to us. It's horrifying. And this is why you need to basically you homeschooling. I'm telling you, your audience here, it's I'm sure many of you send your kids to public school. I know you think it's impossible to find any alternatives. You have to ask yourself, look, everyone needs to survive. First thing you need to do is put bread on your table, obviously, and a roof over your house. But after that, you're basically putting your children in an indoctrination center where they're becoming the 20 to 30-year-olds. They'll be there 15 years from now. I mean, that's basically what you're setting them up for when you put them in public school, to believe in this ridiculous ideology that the government has better wisdom about what they should do with their lives than they themselves have.
And when you send a kid to public school now, you're sending them to the next 12 years or 13 years, K through 12. You're sending them for the next 13 years to people who believe that you aren't capable of teaching your children, that
Right.
only they are.
Right.
That,
Only school boards know much more than parents do. That's what we're hearing, right? And parents who try to interfere, they're terrorists. You know, they're the evil. I'm sorry, I cut you off. You were about
No,
to
no,
go
no.
off. But yeah, that's exactly what they're saying. That they know much better than you possibly know what's best for your children. What an asinine, completely un-American, disgusting perspective that is. That someone else is going to tell me that they know better for my kids. That I shouldn't have any say about what type of education they get.
Right.
And that their choice of messaging is to say, oh yeah, we should start alienating and disassociating this group from that group, and say this group is completely different based on the color of their skin. They're employing 1890s logic or 1930s logic as to, like, this race is better, this race is good, this race is evil. And the effect of that, by the way, this whole thing that I'm sort of branching into a whole anti-CRT thing, the effect of that, the damage of that is far worse on black kids than they are on white kids. And the reason it's far worse is because it's the same exact stupidity that Democrats have done with Democrat Party with black community for the last 50 years, which is
Yep.
basically they're saying you don't need to develop your skills, you don't need to develop your own merit. You have value because of your skin color. You're not like the evil white people. So it's bad enough on the white kids, terrible for the white kids, but it's worse for the black kids, because black kids are basically saying, like, all right, I don't need to, like, bust my ass because I'm already special because I'm black. And
Yeah.
I deserve special treatment because I'm black. My opinion, and no matter how unrefined, how uneducated, how little I've thought about it, how zero critical analysis, it has value because it's coming from a mouth that's covered by black skin, that's surrounded by black skin. That's the messaging of CRT. It is. So what do? So they end up not growing. You're basically discouraging them from busting their ass to actually developing themselves and becoming something, when it's so stupid, because all you're doing is you're crippling them. You're totally crippling the black community, which is exactly what the Democratic Party has been about for the last 50 years. We're going to give them a fish, 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 so that they never learn to actually fish for themselves. And they're always dependent on us, and they'll just vote blue no matter who, no matter how stupid, how restrictive, how authoritarian, how dystopian we make our world. They're just going to keep voting for us and voting for us because they know no other way, because we'll just promise them when it comes 6 months before election, we'll promise, don't worry, we're going to give you next time, we're going to fix all your ills. And those other people, they have to pay their fair share. There's always the rich. The rich are never paying their fair share. What is fair share? No one knows what fair share is, because you can make the same speech 50 years from now that the rich are still not paying their fair share, no matter what share they're paying. So, and why are you suffering? It's not because of us, not our mistakes, not the fact that we're encouraging you to have kids out of wedlock, and we're going to say to you, hey, you're much better off if you have another baby, and a welfare. We'll give you more welfare the more babies you have, which is actually, I've sickness that I've heard now, that in the black community, you actually have some women, it's pathetically sad that they actually feel like, hey, I'll have more revenue on a monthly basis if I have another kid. So I'm going to bring another kid into the world just so I get a bigger welfare check. What a sick world the Democrats have created. And that's all they want for the black community, just so that every 2 years, they're going to vote blue no matter who. And they punch down and leave the black community, the only community that hasn't been able to rise up in the last 150 years. You have some individuals, because anyone who actually really does try, no matter what your skin color is, you're equally capable to any other race. But no, we're going to try and make your race as dependent on us as possible, so that you're going to vote blue no matter who, because all we care about is we're power hungry, power mad, and we need that vote. Otherwise, we're screwed. I'm sorry for my rant.
Yep. You're 100% right, man. That was beautiful. No, you asked a very pertinent question before you got into your rant. And you said, and I can answer this. You said, where do they think? What audacity do they have that they think they have the power to do this to us? Well, there's actually an answer to this question. And I saw a guy in the chat saying government's job is to govern, basically doing the full bootlick or whatever, which is fine. You see this thing around, well, it's the government's job to do these and pass these regulations. They derive that power from us. And that's the thing with school boards. Like, you only have the authority to teach our children because we gave you, as government, the authority to teach our children. We used to do this. That's how it was done. It was a little schoolhouse that was run by parents, or maybe they hired a teacher or whoever to come out and tutor the kids to a certain level. They worked in pods, or they worked in multi grade level schoolhouses, and that's that's how it was. And then the government comes in and says, well, wait, we can do this. We can actually, if you guys give us some resources through taxation, we'll create a school system that will then serve the community. So you don't have to do this on your own. We'll take care of it. They got it from us.
Yep.
And now we go in and we say, hey, wait a minute, what the hell is this? You can't do this to my kids. You can't teach this shit in my school. You can't do. And they're like, this is our school. I'm sorry, sir. This is our school. What qualification do you have to be there? Bitch, I pay your salary. Get out. Get out. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of these people. They derive the power from us, and then they act like we don't have that power. It's like we're lending it to you.
Not just that we don't have that power, that it's like you have chutzpah for actually opening your mouth and thinking that you have any sort of input. Like, how on earth do you think that you know what's good for your kids? Where do you get off thinking that? What do you? How backward is your world perspective?
Yeah,
look, I gotta put up some pizza. Can you read super chats? I don't want to like, but like I'm starving.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten anything all night. So
no, I will. But one last thing.
Yeah.
One last thing. It was one of Binger's questions at Rittenhouse's trial was this. He's asking the big army guy. And he's like, so you went to go put out a fire at a church, or you heard there was a fire at a church. So you went to go help out and put out the fire. He's like, yep. He's like, what made you think you had the right to go do that? Like, are you serious? There's a building on fire and you're asking what makes you think you have the right to go try to stop a fire?
Not just any building, a church, for crying out loud, a church on fire. I'm Jewish, and I think that's an offensive question. It's a church, for crying out loud. You're yelling at me that this, I assume he's Christian, that a house of worship that he might want to go into, that he may have visited, that he has some sort of nerve for assuming that he has a right to actually try and stop it from burning to the ground.
It's
wow.
Crazy town.
Wow.
Crazy town. All right, man. Go. Yeah. If you want to
I'll be right back. I'll be right back. I want to just put it on. I'm going to put it in, and then I got to go back down like 7 minutes later and pull it out, and then I'll join you back in here. Okay. And
that was a very sexual joke.
It's late. It's late.
Get out of here. I'll read super chats. Wolfgang Deo says, I'm going to mute him because I'm echoing. Here we go. He's muted now. Wolfgang Deo says, God damn it. Not only do I have a bad cold right now, but a tooth is chipped and cracked. And I am just now noticing whatever they have coming to them, they deserve it. I don't know who they are, but I agree. They do deserve it. Next we've got, let's see, where are we? Bad Dragonite says, am I being a bit too cynical when I think that also put the mandate forward to January 4th. So that way, if people protest it, the media can try and link the protest to January 6th of 2021. I don't know. I mean, maybe I think that's going to be a little different unless they show up at the Capitol building. But we'll have to see what they do with that. Let's see. B-Man 0013 says, took a week off to do paperwork and lawn work. Thank you for covering the case. Woke commies trying to take away the right of self-defense. Not the first time in history. Interview James, Lindsay, and Tick. Simple Sandman says, how do I find the music video of Kyle's lawyer saying the N-word? Oh, I covered that one earlier. Lofty Pixels on Twitter. LOFTI Pixels on Twitter. Also on my Twitter, I retweeted it. You can find it there as well. Alice Lovely says, guy rear-ended me, totaled my car, and ran. If I press charges, what do you think I can expect to gain? Insurance doesn't want to cover car damage. Well, if you identify the guy and you can press charges against him, and you could, in theory, get money back if he's insured or if you can collect. It's going to be pretty state specific, depending and insurance specific. In Minnesota, you're required to carry uninsured motorist coverage on your required auto insurance. And so in Minnesota, you would get probably the policy limit of your uninsured motorist coverage. But you kind of have to fight for it from time to time. Not applicable says, in general, cops don't know shit. They aren't experts. Mean Sarton says, give this $5 towards complainers' new tampon fund. Who's? Wait. Yes, the complainer from earlier. Thank you. Adam Friended says, when does Gage, I lied about my gun to the police, Groskowitz take the stand? Oh, Adam, if you're still there, Monday. Monday is when Gage takes the stand. All right, you're back. I had you muted because your headphones were going back through the mic, but you're
Okay.
unmuted now.
Okay.
Iz Halesen says, I warned you not to make fun of a green buffet. Arlania says, it's not his fault, Nick. He was deployed in the defense of Burger Town, and the temptation was too much for any one man, much less 1.5.
That's you're talking about Balch?
Yeah. Balch is a big boy. He is a big boy.
He is a big boy. I wish that when he asked him how tall Rosenbaum is, or how big he is, he said, I don't know, 5'3". He could have said also like 240, like built like a freaking ox. He didn't mention that. And then
Rosenbaum,
Binger's like, oh yeah, poor little Rosenbaum. Poor little Rosenbaum. He's like twice Kyle's weight.
Yeah,
at least.
he was a pretty, like, he's a solid looking 5'3".
He said somewhere 6 foot under. He's probably still bigger than Kyle for the last year. He's probably still bigger than Kyle is.
He said he was he said at 5'3", 150 pounds. And I was thinking, no. 150 pounds is actually, that's kind of a big guy for 5'3".
I think he's bigger than 150. I think that guy looked like he looked like he was a barrel of a man.
Let's see. Comrade Roof Korean the base says, I'm an infantryman with a bit of coof weight. My thick skin came from the infantry too, so I love the jokes, love the coverage, and I learned a ton. Hey, thanks, buddy. JWC 7215 says, is a fat person an expert on food? Generally not, actually. Generally not. Otherwise, maybe they wouldn't be so damn fat. Anthony Lautzenheiser says, as a former unit armorer, infantrymen are only experts at marrying strippers. Sammy McStabswood says, can I be mad that a minor killed a pedo who was attempting to cause harm and the state is trying to punish the minor? Yes, you can.
And by the way, this was actually a comment that I saw in Gruler's stream that someone kept making, which is Rosenbaum died doing what he loved best, which was chasing after young boys. So
Bad Vibe says, if there's one thing I could have for wilderness survival, it would be Nick's nose. I could shoot an azimuth and have a shelter. Dude McGuy says, Peter Pizzarelli. Stellar J. Atkins says, as a former Army aviation mechanic, infantry are experts at 3 things: strippers, booze, and losing their paychecks to their stripper's fiance. Not applicable says, difference between expert in court and outside also. Yes, that's what I was talking. I made the mistake of saying that I wasn't sure if Bulch would be qualified as an expert on basically firearms and munitions. And it's like if just an infantryman, who was deployed and is now not in the Army anymore, a former infantryman is an expert, then I think, I don't know if we know what experts are anymore. And people got really, like, a couple people, not many, got mad. They thought I was insulting the infantry guy. And it's like, no. It's how you qualify experts.
Experts are supposed to be rare. It's not supposed to be that there are tens of thousands of them.
Right. So yeah, that's the context there. Monolabe, Molan Labe 1371 says, for Kyle's reckless endangerment charge, would it be helpful to show that a 223 round is one of the smallest, potentially weakest rifle round? And since minors can't have pistols, so stuck with a long gun. Maybe, but I think, I mean, if they really wanted to get into it, they could bring an expert and talk about, like penetration with a 223 round and deflections and all that stuff, and how the idea, but I don't think they need to on this. I think the reckless endangerment charge it's going to be defeated by the initial self-defense against Rosenbaum. He didn't indiscriminately spray bullets. He put 4 bullets into this guy, and none of the bullets
at close range.
None of the bullets hit anybody else. He didn't fire one missing the guy and going into the crowd or going into a car or anything like that we've seen. So I think the self-defense claim is going to take care of that.
Reckless endangerment really would have been if he had, like, an automatic machine gun that just kept firing. Then it's like likely to actually cause harm to someone besides your intended target.
Yeah.
But what was the caliber of his gun? It was
Well, it's an AR-15, so the bullet's either 5.56 or 2.23, which there's some minor difference, but
right. But it's
yeah,
not even it's not even a semi, right? It's just
it's semi-auto, yeah.
it is semi because I don't. So you're saying he could have held it down? He has to keep pressing it. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, you have to pull a trigger each time,
Right.
and I mean, don't get me wrong, you don't want to get hit by one of these bullets. Like they're moving at a very high velocity. They carry a lot of impact force, but and they certainly can go through a target. But this next super chat, Comrade Roof Curry in the base says, rare to get a through and through on 5.56 before defragmentation in my experience. Ironically, higher chance on bicep shot to exit. Are there any famous jury judgment notwithstanding a verdict cases? Yes, I don't know them off the top of my head, but most judgment notwithstanding a verdict cases aren't going to go to appeal. Or they're not going to have like an appellate decision that's published on them.
Oh, you're saying for Schroeder to actually overrule the jury? He's never going to do that. He'll never ever do that because that would be something. Even forget about politically. It's like, I mean, his family would be getting death threats for the rest of his life if he did that.
The rest of his life isn't all that long. Some of the statements.
Let me go get my pizza. I'll be right back. Brother.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Am I going to echo this time? Oh, not as bad. Othamer says, I'll have you know I graduated top of my class in the Gravy SEALs, and I've been involved in numerous secret raids of the pantry, and I weigh over 300 pounds. Comic Nut 64 says, how the hell are you still awake after today's Ambien dose? I actually find the Kyle Rittenhouse streams to not be not tiring. They're physically exhausting because I'm sitting here, broadcasting forever. And mostly it's the lights, my studio lights. I've started putting in eye drops again, which I don't normally do, but I have been because the lights for that long. Savory 6 says, sorry about the Chris Chan mix up earlier. I was using talk to text. No worries. I was just like, what the hell is he talking about? I would love to cover the Chris Chan trial. That'll be one of the funniest things out there. Carson Depp says DA and cop conspired to suppress Gabe's phone. Very possible. Looks like it to me. Crypto's Chaos says he was an agent provocateur and needed to keep his cover. He is not a victim. STFU FFS. No, none of those guys are victims. None of those guys are victims at all. He took a round to the bicep because he deserved it. He actually deserved one to the chest or the face, if you ask me. He may have deserved more than one. Gage Grosskiewicz dying would have been a service to this country. I don't ever want anybody to die from an encounter because I don't want the encounter to happen. But this is a guy who went up trying to kill someone and under false pretenses of surrender. And this is a person who's trying to get away towards the police. And this guy's like, nope, I'm going to come up and try and kill you. And I have no bones about what Gage was trying to do there. I don't think he was trying to stop a mass shooter at all. I know that's a legal defense for him or a legal justification for what he did. I am not under the impression that any of these people were peacefully trying to prevent a mass shooter. They went after someone that they saw as a political enemy, and they thought they had justification to kill them. So there are no tears for any of the quote unquote victims in this case from me. The only sadness is that Gage Grosskiewicz gets to walk the earth still. Next, shut the fuck up for fuck's sake, says Nick. Gain on your mic is controlled by your computer, not Streamlabs. Actually, the gain on my mic is controlled in several different places. So, but we won't talk about. Just right click the volume icon on your desktop and choose mic balance. No, StreamYard, not Streamlabs. StreamYard has its own mic balance that it does actually in its own background. Streamlabs has a different gain settings and custom filters, which I have over there, which is why I probably sound a little bit different on StreamYard or Streamlabs when I'm using it. But thank you. M. Nee says, it occurs to me that the reasons Richards had been trying to open the door to Rosenbaum's hospital visit for suicide during the first day might be that Rosenbaum screamed at Kyle to shoot him. I don't think he screamed at Kyle to shoot him. I think that was other people when he said, shoot me, Nibba.
This is becoming a new thing now where people are coming up with this theory that Rosenbaum wanted to die. Like, if you watched any video from that night, he didn't seem like someone wanted to die. He wanted to kill.
Yeah.
That was not, he was screaming at everyone.
B-Man. B-Man in the chat. Stop telling me to shut the fuck up, by the way. Like, you're screaming at me on this. I know you can change it in Streamlabs. I know you can. That's fine. But first of all, that's a volume control that's handled by Streamlabs. Yes, I can slide it back and forth. I can't monitor it live. I don't have the same things going on that I would have if I'm using OBS, for example. But that being said, chill the fuck out. StreamYard I'm pretty sure they were having an issue today because I normally don't have such disparity of volumes between me and my guests. And every guest that joined today had different crazy volumes going on. Even when Nate the lawyer joined later, his volume was off and he had to modify it on his end. So StreamYard had a bad day. Relax. Why are you yelling at me on this? I do this every day.
Yeah. It's pretty sad you haven't figured out yet how it works. You've been doing this for like 2 years, like 6 times a week. I don't know what's wrong with you. Like
4 years.
4 years.
4 years in 11 days.
Is this the first time you're having mukbang on your show? What I'm about to do right
where
here?
You're about to shovel a whole pizza in your mouth? No, I've last night or earlier today, I ate like a half a pound of cheese.
Nice. So I want your tips because you've done this before, and tomorrow I'm really popping my own cherry on streaming a trial.
Sure.
So, do I get popcorn? Am I supposed to? Is it like that sort of thing?
I would not.
What do I do with that?
I typically don't eat much at all. The cheese, I was able to. I had a block of cheese. It was ghost pepper aged cheddar, really good. And I had little slices, so it was like just a quick, it's not loud. Popcorn chips, those are crunchy and loud. They have plastic wrap. You don't want any of that stuff going on in the microphone, in my opinion. If you're going to stream the trial, though, you'll have some breaks, but
right.
I would just expect to not eat for 8 hours.
Yeah, that's what I had today.
Yeah.
There was one point where I had to do prayers in the middle, and I actually had Viva and it was an overlap period between Viva and Uncivil Law. So I was like, dude, can you guys just talk for like the next 10 minutes amongst yourselves? Because like I need a few minutes here. And yeah, so if that's what's going to end up happening on a daily basis, I'm going to need some company here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then that means I have to stream on StreamYard, which I prefer OBS to StreamYard.
You don't have to. It's just convenient. It's really convenient.
How do you possibly set up OBS that we can see each other, and that my feed's not going out through OBS, and they won't be able to see me?
Oh yeah, that's a pain.
I don't need StreamYard for that.
You don't need it for that. The other thing you could do is you could pipe your StreamYard into OBS and do it that way, but it all gets messy. OBS can do it. You can. It's a pain though. I'm not suggesting you do it anywhere else. StreamYard is the most convenient way to do it without a severe audio or video setup. Gravedigger 27 says, "Hey, the guy is a 5-year veteran infantryman that served 2 tours. How about y'all show the man a little respect? Betting the closest any of you been to a war zone is Call of Duty."
That's a pretty good drop down right there. That'd be true for me.
Again, no one is immune. No one is immune to ribbing jokes. None of it. No one. Make fun of me. Make fun of everybody. Stop stigmatizing a little joke. It's not hurting the guy. I'd have to go through. My joke would have to penetrate deep through a lot of skin to get to that guy's heart and hurt him. I mean, my joke would have to go through layers and layers of ablative tissue to injure this man.
Most humans have like 7 layers. He's got like 47. So
OP Dog says, thanks for the content and great coverage of this important case. Hey, thanks, buddy. Stephen Cooper says, first you stream the impeachment and I get COVID to watch it. Now you stream this trial and I get the flu. I don't know what's going on, but fuck getting sick. Sorry. No, I used ablative. I used ablative very intentionally. I know adipose tissue is fat. I used ablative specifically as a fat guy's shield against many things, a disposable shield on the outside of something. So ablative was intentional. Stellar J. Atkins says lead detective is Kenosha mayor's nephew, according to the Sarah Correa video I mentioned in Super Chat. Thought that might be relevant info. Yes, I've talked about it a little bit. Yeah, the whole crew prosecuting Kyle Rittenhouse all happens to be related. I mean, it's very interesting. The lead detective, the district attorney, Binger is actually related to they're all related to the mayor. It's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's wild. Vapid Zero says in Richard's voice, objection, Your Honor. Any other day, Binger would be prosecuting his own clients.
I heard that Huber's father was assistant DA, the victim, the deceased. Huber, the skateboard kid, that his father is an assistant DA in Kenosha. Did you hear that?
I did not hear that.
Yeah, that's what someone was saying. That's what someone super chatted on Grueler today. So
could be. I haven't.
You're hearing it like 17th hand, so it must be true because it was on the internet.
Right. No one would go on the internet and lie. Butt Naked Gamer says literally Good Samaritan laws give me that right. George Lopez says U.S. Air Force agrees with the statement about the Army. Derek Mullins says, great show, Ricada. When I heard Richie say Rosenbaum grabbed Kyle's gun and said, F you, I was smiling. Me too. That was great. Orbital Objects says, are private citizens permitted to use deadly force to prevent arson? Depends on the state. Malcolm Combs says, how do you feel about dry fly whiskey? Never had it. Never had it at all. William Smith says Rand Paul BTFO'd Fauci again today, implied that history would not remember him fondly in front of a congressional hearing. Yeah,
he told him to resign, right? I think he told him to resign today.
I'm pretty sure Rand Paul has like a Rocky training montage of like a Fauci effigy that he's punching over and over, like to get ready for every hearing that Fauci's brought in.
He does not like that man. He does not like that man at all. He makes it pretty clear.
Yeah, not a fan. B-Man0013 says Kyle equals 223. Don't load 556 and 223. Which is better? I don't know. Well, the chat can debate over 553 or 556 or 223 being better. I think that's something that the chat should figure out. I know that there's some people in the chat who really want to figure out if 556 or 223 are better. And there might be some people who have opinions on it. You guys should definitely figure that out in the chat. Jim Satala says the number is the total who have died divided by the number of days since it started. I don't remember we're talking about COVID, but they're saying, did you realize that there's still 1,100 deaths a day?
So I did read today that there were 70,000 new COVID cases a day. And I was actually wondering how many deaths a day that we're having, because
the stat from CDC is 1,100 a day.
That's surprisingly high.
That's way higher than I thought it was.
Isn't that like more than what we had a year ago before the vax was actually approved?
Yes.
How is that possible?
Well, there is actually a reason for this.
Okay,
that is logical.
I'm curious.
And within YouTube's terms of service, like the flu, COVID is more active during certain times, right? Flu season is a thing that exists. I think COVID season actually nicely coincides with flu season because they seem to have similar sort of structure. And so what we saw over the summer is it's warmer. and we saw generally a drop down in cases. Now, the government attributed that to vaccine usage, but then we saw spikes after it and not just spikes, like they called them spikes at first, but it was a trend up, and that doesn't make much sense based on what's going on with you. If you have increased vaccinations, you should have a decreasing,
just a steady negative slope right there.
Right, or like an algorithmic, right? Like an algorithmic.
Maybe I'll taper off a little bit. Yeah, but yeah, pretty much never upward. You're not expecting any much of those upward things going on.
Yeah. Right. So that's what should be happening, but it doesn't. And at first they said that the vaccine was you know what? I can't even talk about this, which is stupid because it's what they're saying. But let me just suggest that there are seasons in which you'll have an increase. Let's just call it it's all unvaccinated people from now on. All unvaccinated people, unvaccinated people got less sick in the summer than they're doing in the fall going into the winter because it's COVID season. So we saw spikes around the same time last year. That's what I think is going on personally. I'm not a doctor though. And you should definitely talk to your doctor about getting vaccination. Talk to your doctor today about the joys of vaccination. Your doctor can tell you everything you need to know about the jab, about how good it'll be for your life, and how good for your family.
And about Cialis. Talk to your doctor about Cialis and the jab.
Yeah, it's like I hate that we can't just discuss things. Like, because I'm not even here trying to say anything negative about anything, but I have to dance so fucking hard around the issue because YouTube is a bunch of cunts who cannot just let people speak about things because they're so insecure in their own politics and they're trying to save the world. YouTube, you are an ad delivery service. You are not a doctor or a medical arbiter or a truth teller. You are nothing but an ad delivery service for the people who buy your ads. That's it. You know it. Let's stop pretending you're anything else and stop trying to save the fucking world. You're not going to do it.
Well, are we allowed to talk about the fact that, about Pfizer and their role in like monetizing the world?
Nope.
I'm not even talking about. I'm not talking about any medication. I'm just talking about Pfizer. You saw that montage of brought to you by Pfizer, right? Everyone's seen that. Right, where everything is brought to you. ABC News brought to you by Pfizer, CNN brought to you by Pfizer, this and that. You think Google isn't brought to you by Pfizer? You think that they're not spending huge chunks of money there? Really?
Yeah, I don't know. I would assume they are. If Pfizer and Johnson aren't advertising the jab,
we're past 2 hours, so you should be good now, right?
Not for community guidelines. Community guidelines is whenever. 2 hours is only for monetization.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's just like if they're not advertising on YouTube, they're crazy, right? Like, am I wrong on that? They should want people talking about the vaccine and then having Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson just run a massive ad campaign on everything COVID. That's what I would do.
Right. So I would imagine that Pfizer is heavily invested in all 6 of the big tech companies. And that being said, you start to question, like, why are they being so ridiculously restrictive? If you were a sellout to a big sponsor, you would be restrictive too.
Yeah, could be.
It's a theory.
That was a perfect place for me to do a Ridge wallet ad, and I didn't do it.
Yeah,
I should have done it.
I was going to hear. Am I ever going to hear you say something bad about Ridge Wallet? No, and I'm sure they pay you a lot less than Pfizer pays to Google. So
yeah, but no, if Ridge Wallet put out a garbage product that I tried, I would actually say something bad.
You're not Google. You're not YouTube. They're money hoes. So
I get. Well, I am too, but
not
sorry.
The same way. Not the same way.
Sooty Thunder says the Grim Reaper takes weekends off. Amusit says, did the OSHA fine potentially getting bumped up to 700,000 constitute a violation of the 8th Amendment? Excessive fines? No, 700,000. Nah, that's nowhere near excessive. The government doesn't consider any fine excessive.
Yeah, seriously. How did they come up with that number on the level of fine? How did anyone? It's just a ridiculous number. It's per case, right? Like per case, like it's 14,000 or something like that.
Yeah, it's a lot. I don't know, but excessive fines are really, really hard to actually get through. Kaiju Spirit says Ryan Balch, who served 2 tours, doesn't bother to bite you like a lion. He slashes at you here or here, maybe across the belly, spilling your intestines. The point is you are alive when he begins to eat you. So, try to show a little respect.
I'll tell you this. His testimony was pretty solid for Kyle. So
no, it was great.
I'm not looking to hate on
There's no
this.
That's the thing.
It's purely
no
in
hate.
good, it's in good jest. It's in
Look,
good jest.
someone saying he was a member of Meal Team 6 is funny. That is just funny. There's no hatred or malice in the joke. It's just funny. It's the same as making fun of my nose a million times or saying I'm bald or whatever. It's just funny.
Right.
Let it go.
Right. No, you're right. You're right.
AJ says,
by the way, speaking of that case, I just thought, I should mention that you should all his ills, all his wrongs in life with Rosenbaum, he made some mistakes along the way. It's not. I think we should be careful that when you're referring to him, you should use his preferred pronouns, which are was, were. So.
Someone in the chat today, when they asked how tall Rosenbaum was, someone said 6 feet shorter. Oh God, that was funny. Okay. AJ says, I'm glad your channel is growing. Hey, me too. It's been great. Past 175 and 176,000 subs.
I don't want to hear about till you pass 2.
I'm working on it.
Hear it.
I'm working on it.
I got you.
Das Pooch says this guy is trying way too hard to create racism in a joke where it doesn't exist. That's you. Sounds like a leftist. It's just disrespectful generally about terrible events. Pirate Chan says, oh, good. Joe is here. He can answer the question as an expert. Joe, do you prefer your fuda to be cut or to have foreskin?
That's a new one.
It is.
I gave you credit.
It's not me. I didn't come up with it.
Who was that?
Is degenerate. Pirate Chan.
I give props where they're due.
It was Pirate Chan, my first Patreon.
I haven't done a side by side, so I don't know that I don't think I'm the authority to weigh in on that.
Well, I think you've just invited several people to help you make that decision. We the Fuda picks to Joe. We the rabble say we all have the right to defend ourselves at all times, no matter what, by any means accessible, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, when it's the legal question is not typically whether you have the right to defend yourself. The legal question essentially boils down to, are you defending yourself? That's how it kind of comes out.
They're trying to make it, do you have a right to defend yourself if you're in a place that they don't think you're supposed to be?
Right.
I don't know why he has less of a reason to be there than any of the people who were imported from Seattle to go burn down gas stations. But
exactly.
Apparently he has less of a right to be there.
Yeah, that's such a weird one for me. It's like, well, he's out past curfew. Literally everybody on that street, and importantly, everybody who's dead, we're all out past curfew as well. They're equally incapable of being there. So they're on the same, like, I guess you can make some argument that someone out past curfew committing a crime is somehow worse in general, but it's like when everybody on there is on the same legal footing, we don't get to do that anymore. Amateur Ant says, I'm about the same amount of doctor as Fauci at this point. Fauci. This is just the precursor to the mark of the beast system they want from the Bible, where you can't buy or sell anything unless you get the mark. They want more power. Let's go, Brandon. Guys, I've talked about this a couple years ago, and I swear to God, it's coming. All right. It's coming. And that is where to buy anything, no matter if you're using credit card, no matter if you're using cash, no matter if you're using Bitcoin, you're going to go to the store. No, you're going to have to put your phone down on a thing that's going to scan your social media posts for 30 days.
No.
I don't think they'll embed it. I think they'll just go with a phone. And you'll be like, oh, I don't have a phone. They'll be like, sorry, we can't sell. And it's going to be done through the banks. The banks are how this is going to happen. It's going to be MasterCard, because already is MasterCard, and it's going to be through the payment processing that the store does. So you paying cash or not is not going to matter. And guess what? When they're scanning your social media posts, they'll scan your Vax e-card that you have to have uploaded to your phone as well. That's going to be it's coming. That technology is coming, and the banks will demand it. And here's the thing: if the MasterCard says to your local grocery store, look, if you're not doing this, we find out, we're cutting off your account and you will not be able to bank. We will put you on the match list as a risk. And then therefore you won't be able to not only bank with MasterCard and have your payments processed, you won't be able to bank with anybody.
Yep.
You'll be done. And there's nothing we can do about it, because banks are quote unquote private companies, and our Congress and has no balls to create a Bill of Rights that will just grant guaranteed a non-discriminatory access to the monetary system. And the fact that we don't have this is embarrassing.
Bitcoin.
It's going to happen with Bitcoin. Do you know here, Joe?
They say it's harder to track. I don't know.
Listen to me. It is. If I want to send you money, Bitcoin will be great, right? Or whatever, or Monero. But your grocer has a contract with their bank, and that contract is for payment services that are provided by MasterCard. Do you know who has the patent on converting cryptocurrency to fiat currency at the point of sale?
Biden.
MasterCard. They already patented the conversion of cryptocurrency to fiat currency at the point of sale. So it's already going to be implemented into the existing point of sale systems that every store is already using. Do you think that the random store you're going to is going to adopt a Monero payment processing system that is extra for them, that they have to maintain, that they probably have to have an IT guy set it up because the people running stores don't have time to do that shit? No. For person-to-person transfers, sure, we can do Bitcoin or Monero or Ethereum. For going to the store, it's all going to be through MasterCard. And again, if they do accept Monero, MasterCard can just say, well, you're accepting Monero. We think that's unsafe. We don't know if that's money laundering. We can't track it. We won't provide you point-of-sale services. It's not about you guys. It's about who the store gets to use and their relationship with their bank. And it's gonna be shit. And it's coming. It's coming. I don't know how many years, but it's coming.
Speaking of the new world order that you're describing here, did you hear about Meta and Facebook transitioning to Meta and what the whole deal is?
I'm very proud of Facebook for coming out and joining the LGBT community by transitioning.
Do you know what they're planning to do? Do you know what Meta is supposed to be? Like the goal is?
It's everything.
It's not just a new name. Yeah, they basically want to have it that I assume it's your phone is going to be topped into like some sort of goggles where you and I could, in theory, from 1,000 miles away, engage in the same. It's not just, how you play a game on, online, you could play with someone. You're walking through virtual reality, and you basically want to spend the same way you spend our whole lives looking into your phone to get information, stuff like that. You're basically going to live your life in virtual reality if Facebook has it. Sorry,
yeah, it's like
you will spend your entire life, all the time you dedicate looking to your phone, which for most people is like 75% of their waking life. You're going to spend that time in virtual reality if Meta has their way. If Zuckerberg has his way.
It's Ready Player One. I mean, that's what it is. Also, Neil Stephenson wrote a book called Snow Crash, which has a similar concept, I guess. I haven't read that. I haven't read Snow Crash, but Ready Player One is that. Like the whole world is tuned into a giant.
It's the
game.
Matrix. You're voluntarily joining the Matrix.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's fun. It's more fun than the real world, especially in Ready Player One, because most of the middle class or whatever are just like their actual lives are horrific. But in this thing, they're great, right? Yeah. They're magical. They can go kill demons and zombies and stuff and become more powerful.
Yeah. So. Yeah. You can go skiing and it's not cold out. It's just everything good that you want from whatever activity you're in. Yeah, you can go hiking and you don't have to like get out of breath or like, exercise. It's insanity.
Lone Wolf Ranger says Fact that men with guns in the bed of a pickup is worse than a flag license plate due to association with several famous racial murders in the South. Yeah, that again, the Arbery trial is going to be, or well, the McMichaels trial, I guess, is going to be very interesting because it's not clean. It's not like Kyle's trial. It's very messy. Gawker's death threat.
It is very messy. And here's the thing, though. You actually just touched on it unwittingly, which is you sort of fell ass backwards into the point as far as one of the difficulties with this case. You know how messy this case is? It's even hard to give it a name. No one calls it the McMichael trial. It's not the Arbery trial. It's so messy that even the name is just like this awkward. The trial of the accused killers of Ahmaud Arbery. It's just it's a mess. Everything about it. Over here, you can just say Rittenhouse trial. Everyone knew it was about George Floyd, but it was called the Chauvin trial. No one knows the name McMichael. So it's just the Arbery trial. Even the name sucks. This is the one you gave me. You give me the leftovers. I'm not going to forget this.
I was personally aiming it at you.
I know.
That is what happened there.
I'm always to you.
So it's great. I'm glad to ruin your life. Gawker's death rattle says 3% of the U.S. population has been incarcerated. 1/3 of those are still in jail. 50% of ex-cons are black, leaving 1% U.S. population non-black ex-cons. Kyle shot 3 of them in a row. Automata says, in the preliminary Arbery hearing, Agent Richard Dial testified they found fibers on Mr. Bryan's truck near a dent and that he believed he admitted to making contact in the interview. The vid is on YouTube. See, that's crazy. That's a big fact in that case. Yeah. Dapper Wolf says, Nick, what do you think of Tim catching the coof and his kitchen sink method? Thought Nick was a Jew that knows. No, I wish I could have had the kitchen sink method. I found out later.
What is the kitchen sink method?
You treat it with everything, right? Oh. You get Regeneron. You talk about the eye drug. You're not allowed to talk about.
Are you not allowed to say that word, the eye drug?
I don't know, man. I don't know what you can do, but I asked my doctor about the Regeneron, which is the monoclonal antibodies, and then I asked about the eye drug. I asked about other, antibiotics for secondary infections.
Did they give you the eye drug?
I asked about steroids. They didn't give me anything at all.
And did you go to a veterinarian? Get it there?
No.
Fish tank. Did you go to a fish tank?
I found out later that our healthcare system is prohibited from prescribing it.
So if they're prohibited from prescribing it, then why are they worried about us talking about it?
I don't just my healthcare system has a policy and the doctors in it are prohibited from prescribing it. And just so everybody knows, since I live out in the country, that means if I wanted to go to an alternative healthcare system, I would be driving 100 miles.
That's insane.
To do that. So, and there aren't like independent doctors out here. They're all part of the same healthcare system, all of them. So there's nowhere to go for this alternative treatment. I don't know if the treatment would have worked, but I would have liked to have anything since I couldn't get the main treatment. I would have liked an alternative at least.
That's what I was going to say. Didn't they offer you any kind of prophylactic?
No, they gave me nothing.
Wow. They're just like
I had to call the hospital to try and get the antibody treatment. I had to call the hospital like 4 different days trying to get them to just get me someone. And then when they got me they got my wife on the phone, they said, your husband is too young and his BMI is too low. So we're not doing it.
Okay. If this is not all about a paid for, okay. You don't want me to say the word, whatever. If it's not all about that. If that's not what all these laws are about, I understand you don't want to give me a religious exemption. Why would you not give me an antibody exemption? Why would you not give me that? Well, you should have.
Because I guess
am I allowed to talk about this?
I don't know, man. I think we're on dangerous ground. We should probably.
I apologize. I'll back out. Right. No, when I was talking about, because when I was a kid, true story. I used to get blood poisoning. I was if I got a cut, like it was like twice, I was actually saved by penicillin. I would have been dead at the age of 8 because I got a cut, got infected, and I had like lines running up my leg, aiming towards my heart. They say because that's how I think I heard that George Washington actually died of blood poisoning. And
I
if
know
I live,
someone who almost died from blood poisoning after a paper cut.
yeah, yeah, no, it's really serious stuff. It's really serious.
Yeah.
And yeah, so when I was talking about antibodies right now, I was talking about like the medicine and penicillin as far as the antibodies for that, because it's deeply ingrained in my livelihood. So when I was talking about that, in case anyone out there was confused about what I was talking about, I was talking about those penicillin and the antibodies that they help develop in my
Right.
body. So
Right. James Degnan says good logic is right. Calling himself Jude Logic would be too on the nose.
I see. All right.
Renee,
I'll bet that was like a $1.50 super chat right there. There you go.
it was
Okay.
five. It was $5.
Oh, okay. No, I was just throwing back at him the whole cheap thing. There you go.
It was $5. I don't know why the guy gave me only $4. What was he doing? Give me $3. This is a $1 super chat. Renee Villarreal says it's all population control we need to take back and start shaping culture. We've been on the back foot for too long. I agree. Angry. That's actually the most encouraging thing about YouTube being so actually popular on the right, that they keep having to censor people, but it is the new frontier, right? Like these video services and video communication. We are the artists. We are the next generation. Like the left took art a long time ago, and we're taking the next generation of art. That's the most encouraging thing, in my
Do you
opinion.
think so? Do you think that we have more volumes? I mean, we definitely have more quality than the left. Do you think we have more volume and influence on YouTube than the left does?
I don't know that we fully have it, but
Because objectively,
I think
we are in an echo chamber. We're trapped in an echo chamber because the algorithm even pushes you towards a deeper echo chamber, because they say you like this, you're probably going to like that. So I'm much more likely to get a video for Ben Shapiro than AOC is ever going to see it pushed into her algorithm. So
yeah, that's true, but all of that is because there's so many people engaging in this stuff, and there are alternatives coming up, and they're annoying for us to use or whatever, and they haven't been fully adopted, but there are lots of people. And I would suggest that we've got more than we had in Hollywood for the past however many years, right? Like popular media, we have been thrown out of it.
We're just more fractured. It used to be everyone was going to go see the blockbuster of the year, and now it's like we're more fractured, where it's like, there's just a lot of us putting out high quality content, and some are seeing this, some are seeing that. It's not like everyone watching the same video, that the way the left would control it by having,
right,
6 or 7 movies that were like, they would make sure that everyone had to see. But yeah, I see what you're saying. That even though we're more fractured, we're more numerous. I don't know if there's a metric for us to validate that that's reality rather than just something we perceive reality to be.
Unfortunately, we could never get the metric because
That's
the people
true.
who have the metrics are dishonest brokers.
That's definitely true. That's definitely true.
Angry Baneling says, "Hey Joe, can you collect this super chat from Nick?" Not applicable.
He sent me super chats all day today, telling me I need to send my super chats that he was sending me to someone else. So he was just giving me that. That was pretty funny, Angry Baneling. Yeah.
Not applicable says, if this thing doesn't go down, going to be literal war. Not applicable says, we're out of time. We just have to tell them no. Blackwing02 says it's racism of low expectations. Yes, yeah. I prefer the term the soft bigotry of low expectations. But
yeah, which basically it all fits very neatly in the philosophy that like voting ID is racist because Black people are too stupid to be able to get an ID. I'm
gonna just clip you flatly saying Black people are too stupid to get an ID.
I know it. I'm the same way I'm clipping from today when Viva said on my stream that Binger is a schmuck. So
Not applicable says they did rise in the 20s. Democrats stopped them. Wrestler Town says it's worse than that. They are not pro-commie. These individuals are anti-us. They have designed themselves to be the enemy of reason because they can't compete on the field of reason. TGR Ghostwriter says this is why we need to treat the elected as our representatives that work for us, not as our leaders. Correct. Seed Fan 85 says actually you don't pay the teacher's salary. The government does. School fees go to the upkeep of the school, sports carnivals, and so on. Wait a minute.
I didn't know the government was a money-making venture, although I should have realized that.
I don't know where you think that sports and carnivals are paying teacher salaries. No. Maybe that's actually like a joke, chat, and I'm missing it. But yeah, here's the worst part. I pay the teacher salaries and my kids don't go to the school
Yeah,
because I pay taxes.
you and me both. You and me both.
Yeah.
Only, and the worst part is I send them to like a yeshiva, which means I'm paying tuition twice. So
that's right. Well,
and I'm sure my property taxes, which are designed to cover my school taxes, are infinitely more insane than yours because we have Governor Phil Murphy, and he's of the opinion that if taxes are your concern, New Jersey is not your state.
what's your property tax percent? Do you know?
Probably. Let me break it down. 2.5.
God, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Mine, because I'm just outside of city limits, is just under 1, which is great. Thomas Manier says today I had to break up a fight between a grow and some middle schoolers. Dude pulled pepper spray on them. Don't back down from doing the right thing. I don't know what a grow is.
Grown up?
Maybe it's a grown up and some middle schoolers. Dude pulled pepper spray. Jordan Jones says, when you look at the voting swings in just 1 year, makes you think there's a progressive push from a collusive government, companies, and parties. Alice Lovely says, identified him, pressing, required uninsured on policy applied here too. Doesn't cover much and limited to hospital bills. Doesn't seem I'll get much. Well, good luck, Alice. I hope you get a better result than your prospects right now. President-elect Austin M says $20 says Gage deflects all aggressions to Huber. Yep. He's already tried to do that. Bad Dragonite says just accept mark on your hands.
By the way, you nailed it on the Gage thing. Someone actually sent it to me. I don't know where I saw it that you actually made the comment that what he did is a war crime. The fake surrender so you could get into attack. That is a war crime. I don't believe that Mark Richards is like the type who's going to bring that up, but I think that he should have
asked the soldier who's done 2 tours today, right? Like he should have asked him. Hey, just so I get this clear, if you're in combat and you go up to surrender, you feign surrender, and then you draw your gun after the person accepts your surrender, and you try and shoot them. Is that okay, or what's that? What would you call that? A war crime? Oh, okay, thank you.
He's on cross. He could, since he's on cross, he could actually ask him that directly as yes or
no. He could have said, "This is a war crime, isn't it?"
Speaking
you can't do that, can you?
Look, I'm not a criminal defense attorney. You are. Okay?
Yeah.
I've never done criminal defense. So I want to ask you this as a strategy. If you're Mark Richards and you want to be really creative with your defense, do you think there's a possible better defense than to recall every single one of the defense witnesses as your witnesses? And just say, you know what? Every person you brought up here is perfect for me. They are all consistent, and I'm going to put them up here on direct. I'll get Heavy Guy Balch. I'll get Richie Rich over here with his reporting. Every single eyewitness, except for I guess Gage, but every single one of them, just to show the jury. Wait, you think these are their witnesses? No. Everything the defendant said supports us. You pound that message home by saying these are our witnesses, the ones that the defense just said. What do you think? Do you think it's a crazy strategy, or do you think that's completely undercutting everything the defense said and making it crystal clear that everything the defense said just proves that he's completely innocent?
I would just worry how the defense would treat some of those witnesses on cross. Some of the hostile ones like McGinnis.
How much worse could they treat them?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. It's an interesting tactic. It's not a bad idea. I'm trying to think through the testimony and what the prosecution would do if they had them on cross. Like Dominic Black, if they got him on cross, I think that could be bad. I don't know how bad it would end up being, but it's hard to say.
The eyewitnesses who come in there, because every eyewitness, has any eyewitness come in there and said that Kyle acted unreasonably?
No.
So
no. They didn't, but there's other things like McGinnis today. He testified that guns made him, that the presence of the guns escalated the danger of the situation. It made him feel that the situation was worse. So in theory, Binger could really harp on things like that he said. Or that he felt in danger when he felt that he was in danger when Kyle or
But then he
he
says
kind
the
of
guys
says,
on the roof who made them menacing. He
no,
said
no,
the
no,
menacing was from
that's
the
a
people on the
different
roof.
part. I'm saying on when Kyle shot Rosenbaum, he
Uh-huh.
said, "Well, yeah, I was in danger because the bullet, I was behind Rosenbaum." So if
Uh-huh.
he gets the harp on him saying he's in danger, that's big on the reckless endangerment charge. So
It would
there's
have been a ballsy move for him to say, if you were in Kyle's position and that guy was screaming at you, lunging at you that way, would you pull the trigger? I mean, it's a tough question to ask if you don't know the answer, because if he says
yeah,
no, do you think, or here's a really good one, and think about this first. This is pretty easy. If Kyle did not pull the trigger, do you think that he would have been physically harmed by Joseph Rosenbaum?
yeah.
And I think they all would say, yeah.
I think the people who have testified so far would who were there,
Yeah.
McGinnis and
And
his
that makes them great witnesses,
Bulch.
because as soon as they say that, it's over. If every one of the defense witnesses says, yeah, if he didn't do it, he would have been physically harmed, boom, your own witnesses have testified that this was self-defense.
Yeah, Roose Bolton says no reasonable person would say no to that question. The problem is all of the reasonable witnesses are probably gone now, and now we're gonna get the crazies.
Oh, you think his girlfriend's going to get up on the stand there, and she's not going to be, it's going to be like, oh yeah, why wasn't he with you that night? Oh, restraining order. Oh, how'd you get a restraining order?
If they
Why is
if
there a
they
restraining order?
if they call the girlfriend there insane, they say they have a couple more witnesses though before Gage. So that's tomorrow is a couple witnesses that are shorter before Gage.
Look, you've seen the prosecution work before. It's not like they save their best for last. You usually come out of the gate
n-
swinging, unless it's an expert witness, which is gonna, like they had in the
uh,
Chauvin trial, which is like, okay, this is the guy who's putting the nail. Now that we laid all the foundation for like what happened that night, we're gonna have the guy tie it together in a neat little bow and say it must have been that he was asphyxiated. But
but they are
that's not
saving
what
their best for last. I mean,
Gage Grossquist.
they're saving Gage to start Monday, and I'm guessing that they're going to be done with Gage's questions on Tuesday.
And you think that Gage, and I'll tell you this much. I mean, at least according to Robert Barnes, he's like, Gage Grosskreutz is a terrible, terrible, terrible witness. He's a
Oh, I'm
terrible
sure
witness.
he is, but I'm sure it's the prosecution's best shot. Is my
I
thought.
think
I mean,
yeah.
they had that cop on the stand, and he did an okay job for the prosecution, but I think Gage is their best guy because he can testify, he can lie, he can
Mhm.
testify to his present state of mind. As he's like, oh man, I saw a guy who's out there trying to kill people. I saw him, at several points, and he's got his gun, and he made me uncomfortable the whole day. He can pull that.
So I don't know if you saw that video I shared with you, but I just want to point this out. This is video that is out there in the ether. I'm sure the defense has this. Okay. And that is Gage Grosskreutz himself was live streaming when until moments before he was shot. After Rosenbaum was shot, Gage Grosskreutz caught
Yep.
up with Rittenhouse and said to him, "Where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to the police." And moments later, Gage Grosskreutz pulls a gun on him.
Mm-hmm.
So when that's out there in the ether, why the hell are you pulling a gun on someone who basically, you saw got knocked over the head by a kid with a skateboard, and and people are literally trying to kill him? Why would you possibly pull a gun on him instead of just saying, "Hey, dude, let's just go to the police like you were planning"? Why would you do that? And there's no answer for that.
There's
There's
not a
no
good
answer.
answer for it at all. Well,
So that's what I'm saying is how lethal for the prosecution to Rittenhouse can he be? I think he'll be less lethal on the stand than he was when he had two arms.
yeah, I think he will too. But for whatever reason, the prosecution is banking on it. That's all I'm saying. Like they're setting up Gage Grosskreutz to be the close of their case in chief.
Okay, fine. I agree with you. That's their
Yeah.
strategy. I'm just asking as a counter strategy. Call up every eyewitness except for Grosskreutz, and basically have them all says,
It's not a bad idea. Other than I think you would have to ask them different questions though on direct,
Yeah.
like because the judge would get really pissed if you brought him up and just relitigated the same issues.
Right.
But
Okay.
yeah, no, I'm intrigued by the idea. Like I said, I want to think on it more.
All right.
Trump
Get back
Willis
to
is
me.
Trump Willis is my name. I'm sorry I missed this chat earlier, buddy. He says, yes, all the pilots, New York firefighters, and police and so on would disagree. 2,000 firefighters just walked in New York City. Just stop giving in. And anyone who did already, you're weak and a female dog. He's responding to that message or that question from Binger. What gives you the right to go stop a church? Mullen Labe 1371 says, for Kyle's lawyer, he should ask Gage what right he had to stop a mass shooting on Monday as a troll of the prosecutor. Carson Depp says, Joe, who is your Rav and who is his Posek? I don't know what that is at all.
These are questions about who my rabbinic authorities are.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Stormcrow 900 says, well, since all the other branches have chimed in, the Navy also agrees with the collective assessment of the Army. Zachary Newsmoen says, how likely is it Gage wears a short sleeve shirt to court on Monday to try and get sympathy for his UNICEF? That would be good. B-Man 0013 0013 or whatever sent 2 chats. There's no message attached. I assume YouTube censored you. So good job. AGK says, as Richards, Your Honor, permission to treat this witness as hungry.
Now that's a worthwhile super chat. I hope that stayed up there for a while. That was a good one.
Your Honor, witness testified earlier that even in the midst of a riot where he's trying to provide medical care, he's carrying a rifle, he did in fact go to the ultimate gas station to grab snacks. That's true. That happened. The chonky boy testified that he had to take a break. That's why he left Kyle. Guys,
he left Kyle to go get some ring dings. That's what you're saying. To go get some.
That's what he said. I didn't say it.
Look, where were you? Where were you when Kyle was having his life threatened by Rosenbaum? I was between my second and third ho-ho.
If this green buffet had actually stayed by Kyle and didn't need a snack, all 3 of those guys would still be no shots would have occurred. Everything would have been fine. It's actually his fault, and he admitted to it on the stand. He's like, when I came out of the gas, I couldn't find him. I had no idea where he was. There you go. Not applicable says Vax passport is the pretext for political blacklisting. Timothy, wait till they mandate it to vote. Right? No ID to vote, but you got to have your Vax ID. That'll be great.
Oh, wow. That's going to come.
Timothy
that's how they're going to catch us. I'm going to ask you.
I may just stop voting.
Will you?
I don't know. I didn't vote. I couldn't vote. There was nothing to vote on where I live in Minnesota.
I'm asking you right now, 2022. They say you need to show your Vax in order to vote. Do you care?
You gotta.
That's a tough moral question.
I think maybe even I go pro se and file on that one, right?
Yeah.
And my brief. I'll just tell you my brief. I don't even have to write it. It just says if blacks can't get IDs and can still vote, then I don't need a Vax ID to vote. That's the whole brief.
Right, and I'll tell you this much. I don't know why that hasn't. That's the best argument for my money. You were asking about OSHA, my opinion on OSHA. For my money, the best argument is that it's discriminatory in impact. Because we know it's hurting the black community more than any other community. And it's knowingly passing a law that's discriminatory on impact. And to me, that's something, this is not something where they had that case in the Brnovich case where the Supreme Court is like, don't tell us that it's twice as bad for blacks because it affects 0.0001% of whites and 0.0002% of blacks. That's not having any impact on anyone.
Right.
So you can play with your numbers to try to say we don't want to hear your crap. Here, it's affecting millions of people, and it's disproportionately affecting the black community. To me, that is the most effective argument that I can hear out there to come out with. If you come up with a better argument, please let me know.
No, that's the one that I've been thinking the whole time. The question is, can they get the data for it? Because they're going to get some tight ass judge who wants some sort of sanctioned study on it, which probably doesn't exist. Timothy Reaper says, ask Joe about Mountain Judaism. Are you familiar with Melinda Scott?
Oh God. You told me about her. You told me that she had some sort of Torah stuff like that.
Oh, it's great. I should send it to you so you can learn about
Please do, because
Torah.
I'll tell you this much. I'm sure she knows Zippo about Torah, but there is I saw you talking about it on stream. I looked it up, and when I looked it up, I found someone who writes for named Melinda Scott, who writes for the Times of Israel, and it's a different Melinda Scott. It's not the same
Yes.
Melinda Scott.
No, this lady doesn't write for anybody but her own delusions.
I would love to. I'll tell you this much: what I saw from the other Melinda Scott, I thought was crap, but mostly. But yeah, I would love. I'm sure that what this one's going to write is going to be way worse. So
It's great when she writes about how the Torah is inherently feminist. I think she's got it. Amateur Ant says the biggest thing people in the USSA should do is not vote for a demon crap or a Republican. They're both two sides of the same coin. Instead, vote for the average Joe who's never been a politician before.
The average Joe won an election here in New Jersey, and now they're trying to
truck
overturn
driver.
it. Yeah, and they're trying to overturn
right?
it. Yeah, they're still trying to count more votes in order to make them lose. It's unbelievable.
Not a Fed says, found your channel and watch most of your Rittenhouse streams. Love it. Do you have any knowledge on entry-level jobs? I'm under 21 with an AAS in CRJ.
What's CRJ?
What's CRJ? That's an Associates of Applied Sciences or something. I don't know what CRJ is.
It sounds like it's probably in the law-related field is what he's thinking, right? I mean, otherwise, why the hell is he asking you?
Criminal justice? Might be a criminal justice degree.
AAS in criminal justice. So you just need to make a referral for him, Nikki. He sent you a $10 super chat. That's.
I mean, it depends where you live, man. Email me. Maybe I can help.
Critical race. Maybe it's critical race journalism. Someone's putting here.
I think that's stop it. Not applicable says we can create a parallel economy. Mandates are worse.
Okay. Aside to that guy who sent the super chat, I will tell you this: it's a tough economy out there, and I wish you the best of luck. So I'm certainly not making light of anyone's struggle to make their net. So
it's a tough economy out there, but man, when I was under 21, I couldn't imagine getting $20 an hour.
That's true.
To start at like a grocery store. Not that you want to work at a grocery store, but I mean, there's a ton of money out there in the right places. But I can give you some pointers and tips maybe, but I haven't looked for an entry level job for a long time. Seed Fan 85 says no. Meta Facebook isn't like the Matrix or our Ready Player One.
Brother, it's 3:30.
I know. I don't know why you're still here.
I'm supposed to be up like in 4.5 hours.
Go to bed. I got to be up in 5.5 hours.
Yeah. Okay. I will catch you all soon. I appreciate the time on your show. I'm gonna have to come back to you sometime next week. I'll catch you up on Arbery. You'll catch me up on Rittenhouse, and we'll. But if I do come, seriously, just throw me out after an hour. So we'll just sort of joke around and screw around for an hour, and then and then we'll just do our thing. Okay.
Okay, man.
Take care, my brother.
Wait, come where?
Oh, I don't know.
What are you talking about?
No, I was like, I need to give you like my updates on Arbery, what's going on. So that's what I'm saying. I'm positioning myself.
Don't let you stay till 3:30 in the morning. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
If you invite me back here and I say, okay, sure, I'll come. So in that case, I'm just saying, boot me out after an hour and remind me that I have to be up early in the morning.
All right, get the hell out of here. Go to sleep. Brother. All right, that was good logic. Go check out his channel. He's a great dude. Very good takes. Seed Fan 85 says no. Meta Facebook isn't like the Matrix or Ready Player One. It's a deep diving environment that you can enter and exit at will. It's more comparable to Sword Art Online. Ready Player One was at will. You could enter and exit Ready Player One at will. Bad Dragonite says plot twist: the one world currency will be entirely based on Earthworm Jim NFTs. Doug will be the winner in the end. IWD says, do you think we can elect enough to rein the payment processors in? Or are we only going to react to it as a nation after the fact? After the fact, the Congress will never rein the payment processors in. Colonel Panic 2762 says free speech is not free. It costs $5.50. Thanks for the coverage on the Rittenhouse case. Been watching it 1.5x to fit it all in my workday. Well, thank you. Thank you for watching. It's my pleasure to cover it. President Joe Biden says, Lawyer rule number 1: don't ask a question you don't already know the answer. Man, President-elect Austin M says Binger going to use all Monday on Direct with Gage. Yes. Yep. The whole day. Trump Willis is my name, says Nick. That was for mandates. Oh, thank you. The 2,000 firefighters in New York City walked the other day on the mandates. Great. Yes. Sorry, I misunderstood. Yeah, that's great news. AGK has a message retracted. Mandy Karavika says, I just came home, Nick. Can you sum up Kyle's Rittenhouse trial today in 10 words for me, please? Yes. Prosecution got wrecked. Defense did much better today. Free Kyle. There you go. 10 words. Bobby McBobface says Meta stands for Make Everything Trump Again. Fantastic. And we're almost done for the day. Says Austin Olson says Gage won't be able to testify because he won't be able to swear in. Terrific. Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for doing that. And making this stream great again. And I guess this stream wasn't great before because it didn't exist. But no, it was a fun stream. Glad we got Joe on here to have some good talks. If you're new here, I do this every weeknight at 11 p.m. Central. And I will see you guys for Rittenhouse tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. I am going to set up the link for it right now. Hope you guys have a good night. Peace. Peace.
How you think you done it?
Okay, number 1, Your Honor. Just look at him.
He talks like a fag, too.
And